What's going on? Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Monday Night Football last night, 49ers and Vikings closed out Week 7 with Minnesota winning 22-17. Jordan Addison with his best game of the season, 7 catches, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Brock Purdy, on the other hand, tossed 2 interceptions, and now the 49ers with 2 losses in a row in as many weeks. San Fran still in first place in the division, but Seahawks in striking distance at 4-2. The big news in the NFL yesterday, Titans trade safety Kevin Byard to the Philadelphia Eagles. Titans get a 2024 5th and 6th round pick in addition to safety Terrell Edmunds. Edmunds is a former first-round pick with the Steelers and has started over 77 games in his career. On the year, Edmunds has 28 combined tackles and a forced fumble. Some hits from around the NFL. Broncos safety Kareem Jackson suspended 4 games for his illegal hit. Jackson's 4-game suspension is the longest for a player violating the player safety rules since Vontaze Burfict and Myles Garrett in 2019. Burfict was for targeting, and Garrett was for unsportsmanlike conduct with a helmet. Chiefs linebacker Nick Bolton and Bills tight end Dawson Knox both need wrist surgery, and both are going to miss some time. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome into this Tuesday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. For some of you, it's a terrific Tuesday, and I hope it is. For some of you, it's a traumatic Tuesday because of the news of Kevin Byard, which we will be diving deep into, alongside 11-year NFL veteran and VFL Ramon Foster.
Yay.
He just had a big night taking down the San Francisco 49ers. Mr. Bert Hawkinson, Robert Walsh.
Behind the glass with a whole lot of ass. What's going on?
Let's go. Shaking that.
Hey, throw it in the circle then, Bert. Come on, man.
I love it.
Woo.
By the way, the hair looked good last night on TJ Hawkinson.
It was flowing.
Woo.
Locks.
Nice flow.
Goldilocks
We can't help it, man. It's just natural for us.
Right? I know. That natural curl. Gotta love it.
When it's good, it's good, man.
Right? And you know why we're good this morning? Because we've got Eighth and Roast.
Brewed up. You know?
Ramon literally just poured a cup. I'm sure Bert will be back here in the break to pour his cup, and then I'll be, filling up my thermos here soon. So
any smart coffee drinker realizes you started with some water and then chase it with the coffee. You feel me? There's a lot of balance in this. We can't just be downing cups of coffee out here like that.
We got our essential waters
we
here.
got our essential.
Yeah, I did a free shout out. What are you going to do about it? Eighth and Roast, coffee cultivated, community by the cup. You can find your favorite retail bag in every Kroger and Whole Foods store. Plus, they have stores across Nashville. Just opened one up here on West End. They've got the coffee, folks, and they've got the goodies to go along with it. So make sure you stop by if you're craving something this morning or if you just need your cup of joe. We love Eighth and Roast, and they keep us brewed up this morning. All right, we've got a big show, guys. 620, top 7, bottom 3, and then we're really going to be digging in to the Kevin Byard trade. And something that I know a lot of people are bummed about today. When we heard the news yesterday, I think we all kind of just said, oh, geez. Like, we knew it could happen, but it just kind of came, right?
Yeah.
And came fast. So we'll be getting your feedback. Make sure if you have something to say, call us, 615-737-1045. Austin Price at 720 to talk some Vols, and then the roof goes off the building at 9:20 as Ron Slay enters the building. We're live on Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch.
Twitch, please.
And you can comment at Ramon Kayla Will on X/Twitter. So how we all feeling this morning? Because I didn't get a wink of anything yesterday. Last night I slept a little, but I just felt like since that news broke about Kevin Byard, it was like go mode.
Yeah, it was. Initial feelings were wow was the first words that came out. What was I doing? I was having something done at my house yesterday. Shout out to Hiller. They came through and installed some stuff for me. That is not a free shout. That's a real shout out right there, Caleb. But they came through and I was having stuff going on in my house, and I'm looking around like, why is my phone buzzing? I got like 4 different text messages because, again, the business of the NFL is usually wait till the transaction goes through. You get the presser and everything else from that. So nobody really reports it. Then I started getting it was Rossini and Rap report.
And then I think Davenport, Sharon Davenport.
Yeah, TD. It got wild yesterday, Kayla. It just did, man. Of course, we had the freaking conversation last week. Who would you not, right? When we spoke about trades and I was just like, no on Byard. No on Byard. I was like, hard no. No, we're good.
Right.
We're good because he's a legacy guy. He's one of your original. He's been here the longest. All things line up for him.
Yep.
To just be back around. And, of course, the safety market, I was just of the mindset, well, heck, he played this out. You still got leadership on the defensive side of the ball. And from there, you'll sign him back next year.
Right.
We'll not get that option.
It's crazy how this business works. And it is a business when it comes down to it. As much as you get attached to those players as fans, look, heck, I get attached to players as covering them.
Yeah.
I covered Kevin Byard for 7 seasons. My first NFL team, you walk into a locker room and it's really tough sometimes to know what the heck you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, Kevin Byard was the most steady Eddie pro I have ever come across in my career at any level.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to say.
Yeah.
And he really was that guy, though, that made it so easy sometimes when there were losses or just difficult times in the franchise. He would stand at his locker and fuel questions for minutes upon minutes upon minutes. And that is hard to come across, especially these days. If you guys missed it last night, which I'm sure you didn't, obviously Titans are trading All-Pro defensive back Kevin Byard to the Eagles, and the Eagles will be sending the Titans a 2024 5th and 6th round pick and safety Terrell Edmonds. And that was, of course, first reported by Diana Rossini, later in the evening made official by the Tennessee Titans. So now Byard joins A.J. Brown, Marcus Mariota. Look at some
Julio
Titans
Jones.
looking for some wins. Julio Jones looking for a Super Bowl over there.
They are, man. It's so many levels and layers to this conversation, Caleb, because we can talk about what the atmosphere of the team must feel like, where this conversation started, how we got to this point, losing, being below 500. I saw somebody in the F&M Bank chat. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all are already in their thick right now.
Y'all are hopping and popping in here.
And one of those things is somebody said, our guys never get an opportunity to retire as Titans. And I was just like, I felt that for him.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor will.
Yeah.
Taylor Lewan will.
Yeah.
And there have been others too. I don't want to make it seem like, no, you won't. Jarrell had to come back, and you have that conversation over and over again. I saw a very significant member of, the Titans alumni yesterday, and I saw him, and I stopped. I was like, hey, what's going on? And we talked for a little while, and I was just like, it probably sucks on the fan side because your guys go to other places. And he was just like, yeah. And he started reeling off, Eddie did this and Steve did this. And I was like, this is the alumni saying that because that's where it hits the fan. That's where, to your point, Kayla, on how you were feeling about it, it hits the heart a little bit harder. When your guys leave. Byard, two-time first team All-Pro. We're not talking about Pro Bowl here.
No, All-Pro.
We're talking about All-Pro. He did it early in his career, and he did it in 2021 also, man. So you lose that. But a portion of me, of course, been in this situation before or watching it happen time and time again in the league. At least you say to yourself, the Titans sent him a guy who's been so good to this organization, such a good player, great teammate, and just a good person.
Yeah.
Great person, a human being
in the community.
Place, to somebody that's a contender.
Yeah.
That sucks because you probably say to yourself, you just sent AJ to a contender.
Exactly.
So there's so much, Kayla, to unpack with this trade and the emotions of it. So
yeah, Mayor of Murfreesboro obviously came over here from MTSU. His wife Clark and him have done such a great job in the community. So just a thank you to his whole family. Just the things that you guys did outside of football, but of course on the field. By the way, Kevin Byard leading all safeties in INTs with 27 since 2017. Passes defended 59, leads the league among safeties since 2017 as well. We will be getting to your calls after the break. We'll get to top 7, bottom 3.
Yeah, we're supposed to.
Yeah, we'll see how that rolls
Yeah.
because there was some shakeups, obviously, in the NFL this past weekend, too. So 615-737-1045. What do you feel about the Kevin Byard trade? And, hey, are you happy that he can at least go maybe try to get a ring? What's next for the Titans? We'll answer all those questions and more this morning on RKW 1045 The Zone.
If you're a business owner or facility manager, you have a lot on your plate and a lot to keep up with. What's going on? It's Will Bowling here from my friends at Lee Company. That can include assessing your equipment and systems, evaluating indoor air quality. Maybe you're just outlining new cleaning procedures or even reviewing options for implementing touchless plumbing and electrical fixtures. That's a lot to keep up with. You have got a big list, and Lee Company, they can help you with every single bullet point on that list. They have been in the facility management and maintenance business for decades, so put their professional expertise to work for you today. Whether it's HVAC, electrical, and plumbing, Lee Company does it all. Call them today, 615-567-1000, or contact them online. Their website is great. Check them out there at leecompany.com. Business owner, facility manager, homeowner, anything in between. Maybe you're checking all those boxes. Lee Company is who you need on your team. 615-567-1000, online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need.
the writing is on the wall. Who might be next? Derrick Henry? DeAndre Hopkins? Maybe this is the only move the Titans make. Welcome into Ramon, Kayla, Will, Kayla Anderson, Ramon Foster, Robert Walsh behind the glass. So we're going to be taking your calls. We're going to go ahead and start off the 720 segment here with some calls, and then we'll come back to that to wrap up this hour. Let's go out to Eric in Nashville. What you got on Kevin Byard? How you feeling, Eric?
Sad, guys, but I get it. It's a business, guys, and things like this will happen. One of the funny things I heard, I don't know if it was a Titans fan or somebody else in the NFL or whoever it was, but I heard supposedly there was a comment yesterday online saying, they were surprised that the Tennessee Titans would want to make another trade with the Philadelphia Eagles after getting fleeced with the A.J. Brown trade. That's a comment I heard. But it is what it is. But I'm real happy for Kevin. Class guy, just like the statement, super guy. Happy for him and hoping he can get a Super Bowl ring. And I root also for A.J. Brown and Mariota, so I want him to get a Super Bowl ring if I can. Give credit to High Rose, the GM of the Eagles, shrewd guy with all the trades and draft picks, doing a fantastic job. I know one person not happy about this, probably Jerry Jones with the Cowboys, and wondering what he's going to do now with the trade deadline a week away. I grew up and root for the Cowboys, so there's still a part of me that loves them. But in a way, I'm kind of giggling what all this stuff happened to him because Jerry Jones gets a lot of stuff that he deserves what happens to him, guys. But anyway, like you said, Kayla, it's going to be interesting to see what's next, if it's Derrick Henry or DeAndre Hopkins. I've also heard names thrown out like Danico Autry, see if that happens, or even Tierra Tart. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm still going to root for the Titans. Love this team, love this organization. I'm still going to be there Sunday. So, Wales, we'll see what happens. Guys, y'all take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, thanks, Eric. Yeah. Does it make it tougher because A.J. Brown also just came off of that huge game on Sunday, too?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, here's salt in the wound, by the way. We're taking Kevin Byard now.
And for his first tweet to be, we got the mayor, I was just like, oh.
What is that gift that he put on there, the little kid?
The little baby smiling down with the smirk. Yeah, that is one of the most. I love that picture, by the way. That picture is phenomenal. I use it in a lot of times when I'm being petty. Yeah. Or when I'm just like, yeah, we got something. That was a petty tweet from AJ.
It
but
was.
Of course, business is business. Emotions are still in it for him, as you can tell. But I'm sure he's probably ecstatic to have Kevin Byard up there with him too.
Yeah, great leadership there to add to that secondary in Philadelphia. Let's go to John. John's on his cell phone. John, you got good connection there?
How are y'all doing?
Good
How are
morning,
you?
John.
Awesome. Well, obviously calling about Kevin Byard. Like Eric said, it's a business, and it's unfortunate. We're losing a hell of a leader in the locker room and an overall great man. Wish him nothing but the best. But it's just a quick question about the drafts that we received for him. Are y'all content with the 5th and the 6th round pick in Terrell Edmonds, or were y'all expecting more? Not necessarily saying that we were going to get a 1st or a 2nd, heck, even a 3rd, but maybe a 4th pick. I'll hang up and listen. Y'all have a great day and be safe.
Hey, John Gron. Here I am this morning.
Yeah.
Call him John Gron. That's a good question, though, because I think that's what a lot of people on social media were asking about yesterday. Just, do you think that was fair? I will tell you this right now. That's about as good as you're going to get for a 30-year-old safety. It sounds crazy, right? That it's a 5th and 6th rounder, but this is how the market works.
It is.
Especially now in the NFL, and they just happen to be the team that needed a safety. I mean, if they didn't need a safety, we don't know if we're talking about Kevin Byard going someplace right now.
Exactly.
So, what are your thoughts? Do you think it was a fair trade? By the way, getting Terrell Edmonds, who we'll talk about a little bit later. Did you play with him?
I played with Terrell.
I thought
saw him
so.
come in too. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Here's what you're getting. It's a big business decision. So, yes, it's very fair.
Okay.
A 5th and a 6th. You needed more picks. You absolutely need more picks. 5th is still a good slot to be picking in, especially with where you could be picking at in the 6th round or 2, because you had nothing but 1, 2, and 3 and 3 sevens, if I'm not mistaken, next year, or 1, 2, and 4 and 3 sevens next year. So you getting as much capital as you can for amount of bodies that you have to fill in was necessary. This was a business decision. Rand Carthon simply did his job. Somebody came knocking, he listened. You got $14 million off the books next year, if I'm not mistaken. It's a non-guarantee. He has 2.4 on the rest of this deal this year, and you get a player to replace him with, and his salary is only $660,000 left to pay him, plus the 2 picks. You need as much capital as you can have. I told you guys when we went into the bye week, depending on where this team was and how you were losing, and now you're 2 games below 500 right now. Stuff get a little sticky when people lose. You also have a new GM. There's zero emotional attachment. It just is. Kayla, if you went into a new job and your success was determined on how you did moving forward, you have to say, well, what's my assets like? Right? Wouldn't you? Where can we spend money? And, how can we get this amount of money off the books, but also acquire young talent through the draft? This was that type of decision. We're definitely going to go deeper into it and how it means. I've seen people saying Rand was already out on Kevin Byard the entire time. I'll say this to you guys. The outlook on the NFL is this. It's 2 positions that's been devalued other than the fullback more than any position. It's running back. Yep. And that is the safety position.
Yep. Exactly. And we've said that several times. I know we've talked about that on this show in the offseason, right?
Yep.
When these names, by the way, Kevin Byard's name was flying around in the offseason. Remember that, folks.
Yep. But the Titans take on the dead cap hit, too, of $13.3 million next year for Byard. So
exactly.
Getting younger.
Getting younger. Let's go out to Bam real quick. Bam, what's up, man?
Ramon. That ledge is getting a little bit shorter for us to jump off, buddy.
I told y'all this was going to be the process, though. Like, we talked about this. Man. Y'all didn't want to hear me when we mentioned that R word.
That therapy thing is just gets. This season went from very hopeful to, just a pain and like that. I couldn't believe it. I had to pull over yesterday. I'm like, what? And even though, you expect things like this, it don't take away from the initial shock of it. You know what I'm saying? Now, according to Buck yesterday, Buck said that nobody had inquired about Derek or they hadn't made any calls about Derek. How true that is, I'm not 100%. But it's just kind of like, I know if we get that breaking news that Derek is gone, this fan base is going to implode. Because right now, what we got left to hang on to right now? What do we have left? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like one of the things to where it's like, man, Kevin was – and I think the thing for us as fans is we watch Kevin sacrifice so much for the team. I don't feel like he necessarily – I'm happy he's getting his payday. I'm happy he's going to a contender. But it's like we watched him sacrifice for Julio, I think, or D-Hop. He's taking team discounts so much because he believed in the organization. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to right now, if we real true Titans fans, we really gotta rally up, man. I know it hurts. It's kind of like it's an ugly thing, but we got to show up. We got to try to push these boys through, even though we don't know. It's literally the unknown right now. We're walking in a hour to hour. We don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback. We don't know nothing, but we got to believe in our team. Sunday may be a small turnaround day. I mean, if we win Sunday, that may kind of build some type of hope, momentum, or something. But watching this is just kind of like we're in the twilight zone, man. It's hard, man. It's hard.
It is. Thanks, Bam. He's right. I mean, for fans, this is like seeing your big name players that you drafted Kevin Byard. This was a John Robinson pick, and let me give credit where credit is due, because I think a lot of times I've been on here saying, look, John Robinson's made some really bad draft picks, and he has. But there's been some good ones, and this by far was one of his best draft picks. But that's what's so hard is because you don't see them retire in the two-tone blue. Kevin Byard was not only consistent just with how he was as a person on the football field, but he was reliable. That guy never got hurt.
Yeah.
That guy never got hurt.
Always
he was
available.
always freaking available. You do not get that in the NFL that often. So it's a tough day.
Whew,
It's a tough day indeed. Okay, we're going to start with our top 7, and then we'll get to our bottom 3 after the break. And we'll be talking really about how maybe the Titans could slip in there at some point.
Yeah, somebody told us.
But let's start with the good news. What you got at 7, Moan?
I got Seattle. Seattle's doing good.
Okay.
They hold a playoff spot right now, Kayla. Their quarterback is playing as good as anybody. Beat a team they should have beat in Arizona. What's fascinating about them, they have the number 11 and number 12 defense. 11 as far as points scored and 12 as far as defensive points scored. They got a good team. It's fascinating. Of course, West Coast team, you don't see them a whole lot until playoff time, but Seattle 7 for me.
Bert, what you got?
I got to give it to the Browns, man. They're cockroaches.
Yeah.
They will not go away. If their starting quarterback gets knocked out, he gets knocked out twice. I mean, they're playing against a team who, despite Gardner Minshew making a lot of mistakes, has offensive firepower and scored 38 points on them. Doesn't matter. They score 39. That defense is keeping them afloat. Myles Garrett is a freak. I don't know how far they can go like this, but right now they're still in the hunt and in striking distance.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got the Detroit Lions. Clearly,
Yeah.
this past weekend was a whooping at Baltimore, but I do feel like a lot of teams have these one-off games, or they're going to have some, games that are going to have some rough patches, and they've got to figure things out. So I'm going to keep them in my bottom 7, but they dropped significantly just because they had no offense in that one. All right, what do we got at 6?
I actually got Detroit.
Okay.
Still, yeah. Top
Gotcha.
of the division, can't leave them out. That's how I looked at them. They did get smacked, but the game don't affect them as much because the AFC versus NFC, it's just an ugly reset yourself losses. What did I look at what Baltimore did to them?
Bert,
I've also got the Lions here.
you got the Lions here. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. This kind of loss happens when teams just run into you're on the road against a non-conference opponent.
Yeah.
Stuff like this happens. I don't think it's any detriment to Ben Johnson or anybody calling plays over there. It just happens. And if you watch the game, it was totally game script. They just got down 14, they got down 21, they got down 28, and then they had to start going for it on fourth downs. If the Ravens wouldn't have scored touchdowns, maybe they kick field goals in some of those situations. The game would have been attainable, but it wasn't, and it isn't. So the Lions at 6.
Yeah.
All right, I've got the Dolphins at 6, and the reason why I have them there is there is still questions about this team, their defense, but when you go on the road to Philly and play what I feel like might be the best team in the NFL right now, it's not going to be an easy task. But when you look at the league overall, it's really tough to pick out teams right now that are consistently top 7 teams.
Yeah.
Each week we have teams going in and out. But for the most part, when I look at the overall body of work, they still have all the pieces there. They're going to get Jalen Ramsey back. So I feel like they're at least still going to keep in my top 7 this week.
No doubt.
5.
49ers, 2 ball losses back-to-back, man. Brock Purdy's looking kind of pedestrian, but Minnesota looked phenomenal last night. They can't be that good and lose like this. But, of course, without Deebo Samuels and Trent Williams, too, plays a factor. But I still got them up. 5.
I got the Dolphins here.
Okay.
I think their 2 losses are 2 of the better losses in the league. Lost on the road to Buffalo, on the road in Philly, 2 of the better teams in the league, even though Buffalo is not in my top 7 this week. The Dolphins, they are what the Titans were a couple years ago, where attrition is just getting to them so hard, where they were losing. They didn't have 3 offensive line starters. They had multiple people in their secondary out. If they can get healthy and still keep this explosive offense that they have, where they can score at will, I think they can beat anybody, but they just can't beat anybody right now. I got the Dolphins at 5.
All right, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars at 5. It's kind of explanatory right now for me. They are the leaders in the AFC South. They have been only gaining momentum. There was really, once they went to London, it's like they caught jet fuel or something on the way back. So that's my 5.
Yep. My 4, right behind you, Jacksonville. 4 straight dubs for them. They're just playing team ball, all phases. They got a nice defense. They're angry. They play well. I know that's hard to stomach as a Titans fan, but Jacksonville's solid. Division leader, top 4 for me.
Okay.
I've got the 49ers here. I feel like they've got reverse Chargeritis where hey, like the Chargers have the quarterback, but their head coach is a dumbass. Well,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
49ers have the head coach, but their quarterback is pedestrian, as Ramon said. There's not much you can do to overcome that when they don't have an extra gear to hit when you get in a situation like, hey, we really need a drive here, and they try to force something. They don't have the talent to make the throw. The 49ers will be fine. They're going to bounce back. They'll get Trent Williams back, and that'll make a big difference. But right now they're at 4.
Yep, they're at 4 for me too. So 3 for you, Moan.
3 for me. Baltimore.
Yeah,
Solid.
that's my 3.
Solid. They're
Shout
easy.
out.
That's light work right there.
Yeah, I mean Lamar Jackson, man, just the transformation as a passer that he's improved his game.
Yeah,
I mean
he
that
has.
guy did the work, and you're seeing the fruits of the labor right now on the field. As corny as that sounds, it's the absolute truth. Okay, at
You know
number
how
2.
you know he's feeling himself as a quarterback too? I'm not sure if he released this merchandise earlier than this, but
Oh,
he's
he has
releasing
merch?
that says "Not bad for a running back, huh?"
Oh yeah, that's been out.
Has it
Really?
been out?
What I'm looking forward to next
Hey.
week. What I'm looking forward to next week in the offseason, the Cardinals put out a thread of tweets that was our opposing quarterbacks that were playing as albums or
Oh.
as songs, and for Lamar they chose the Little Wayne song "Running Back." So I
Ooh.
cannot wait to
Love
quote
it.
tweet
Oh
that
my
with
gosh.
"Not bad for a running
You got
back."
that bookmark.
Love
I-
it.
I got it bookmarked,
That's-
favorited. I'm ready for
That's
it.
how you know he's feeling what he's got
Oh,
going
absolutely.
on. Is when you could talk about your deficiencies or how people criticize
Yeah.
you. That is a dangerous place right there, man, for people that got to face Lamar Jackson.
And he's gone through a ton of adversity. I think, with the new offensive coordinator, this has helped a lot in terms of kind of getting this offense where it needs to be. And then the defense has always just been the defense, right?
Yep,
So
facts.
it is some good times right now in Baltimore. Hopefully Bert's team can keep that up for his sake. Number 2, what do we got?
Kansas City.
Yep, that's me too.
Same.
Okay. And all in unison, Philadelphia
Philadelphia
Eagles.
Heck yeah.
Number 1 team. We didn't do that on purpose. I promise
No.
you guys. Philly's just good.
And for what it's worth, I don't think this Philly team is as good as the team was last year. Like I'm still just not seeing it click on offense. Like I know AJ Brown had a big game and has had
Yeah.
a big game 6 weeks in a row, 5 weeks in a row. But they just don't have that same gear to me. The running game isn't clicking like it was. Swift is getting up to it, but they need to figure something out to become that elite primo team that we thought the 49ers were through the first 5 weeks of the season. I think they're just scrappy enough to beat anybody, but the way they're playing, they're going to have to be.
Well, that's the reason they went and got Kevin Byard, right?
I wasn't going to pick at the scab.
Well, now I'm like, well, what if Howie decides to do even more moves and goes and gets Derek? Could you imagine?
That is the next conversation.
Could you imagine? And we're going to be discussing that more in detail.
Oh, my gosh.
Do the Tennessee Titans, though, land in the bottom 3 this week? We will reveal that. Plus, we continue to take your calls, 615-737-1045. How do you feel about the Kevin Byard trade? That's coming up next on RKW 1045, The Zone. Welcome back into RK on this Tuesday morning, continuing to fuel your calls all morning. Before we get to our bottom three, let's head out to the phone lines, and then we'll catch up with you all at the top of the hour. Chauncey in Antioch. Chauncey, what you up to today, and how you feeling?
Hey, guys and lady. How you doing today?
Good.
Good morning.
All right. I've been following this franchise since 1979, moved here from Houston in 1990. And in my lifetime, I've seen this franchise have Earl Campbell come and go, Warren Moon, Mac 9, Eddie, the Hitman, Mr. Monday Night, and now the mayor. Football starts out as a marriage and ends as a meritocracy. Right now, the mayor is just a guy. He's not playing like a $15 million a year or whatever his salary is. And he was going to be gone next year based on the fact of what they did with Hooker and with Molden. So you got to get something for him before he's gone for nothing. And so the sun will go down. It'll come up. I've been two-tone blue, love you blue my whole life. Still will. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, Chauncey.
Great call, Chauncey.
Yeah, and look, Kevin Byard had been a little bit quiet this year to start the season, but you also have to look at the front of this defense, too.
Yeah,
it hasn't been the front that allows the back to have much success either. Look, he's going to Philadelphia with a front that is nasty.
Yeah.
Probably the best in the league right now. I think Kevin Byard will do good for himself there, and that's probably going to be tough to see. But, yeah, you had to get what you could get for him now.
That's true.
So, all right, bottom three, guys. I'm curious to see if the Titans landed in any of your bottom three. So what do you got at 30, Moan?
I got Chicago.
Okay.
And I smirked because they won with a backup quarterback from a D3 school. This franchise quarterback, don't trip out if there's going to be a wave of these types of guys that come through that coaches say, we just looking for somebody that can play ball. Because that kid this past weekend, man, slung the ball around for Chicago to the tune of 30 points and looked phenomenal doing it, man. I got to find his name, Caleb. Y'all want to go quickly so I can just figure out who he was?
Oh, Tyson Bagent.
Tyson Bagent.
D3.
His dad, his dad from Shepherd. His dad is a professional arm wrestler.
Yeah. Tyson Bagent, right? Crazy, man. 72% on the day for him. 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick with a dub. Huge for Chicago.
What do you got, Bert?
I got the Broncos here. I know they got a big win. It's still not enough for me to move it out, but I just think that they're going to be a bottom 3 team for the rest of the year. I don't know how the Broncos find their way out of this, despite the win.
All right, Green Bay Packers for me. I know that sounds wild, but they have not done anything but digress. They've lost 3 straight, which included falling to the Broncos this past weekend. So I have them at 30. By the way, if I said Jags front, I meant Philadelphia Eagles front. I don't know if I said Jags front. I don't know. Somebody in the chat had a rude comment, and so maybe I thought my mind went adrift for a minute.
It happens. Words, I tell you all the time.
So Green Bay Packers are first time for me in the bottom 3, and I thought that this was going to be a lovely experience up there in Green Bay.
I did too.
No pun intended.
I did too.
31.
31, Arizona. Man, Dobbs is trying his heart out. The team just not good enough right now. He's playing for a real good contract, but they just not good. I got Arizona 31.
Yeah.
I got the Raiders here.
Really?
I feel like it's going to fall apart, man.
Yeah.
It looks like the writing is on the wall. And generally, when a wide receiver complains and says, like, hey, the offense needs to go through me and Devontae Adams, and they try to do that, and it's still not successful, the offense is finally running through your best player, and then Jacoby Myers ends up as your leading receiver. It's never a good thing. I think the writing is on the wall. If they would have fired Josh McDaniels last year, they would have done it. So he's on borrowed time. I got the Raiders at 31.
I've got Arizona at 31. I'm interested to see, even when Kyler Murray comes back, how that all works out. Because, look, if somebody doesn't have faith in Kyler Murray, it's probably me. Other than Russell Wilson, I'm not a fan of Kyler Murray. And I just don't know if that's going to be their quarterback moving forward. Heck, I mean, if they have a chance, wouldn't you draft one?
Yeah.
Right?
Would.
So,
yeah.
They could draft two.
They could draft two,
Could.
right?
Could.
If this one doesn't work out, well, maybe this one will. All right, 32. Titans landing anywhere here?
Carolina.
Yeah.
Carolina.
Oh, come on. They beat the bye week, man.
Nah,
They're changing play callers.
They're not
It
that
doesn't-
good.
It doesn't flip the switch for you, Mon?
Nah, I don't flip the switch for me, man. They
0
trash.
wins.
They cheeks. They're cheeks.
Zero.
And they gotta be.
0 wins.
It's funny, folks in the chat want us to put the Titans in the bottom 3. What's wrong with y'all, man? Y'all can't
So-
eat your own.
Come on, they're at 29, guys.
No, real talk though.
Stop.
We had a text chain going, and we
Yeah.
were really like saying, where would we put him? And guys, honestly, it was hard for me not to put him somewhere like 28
27.
27.
28. Yeah.
because that's the trend right now that they're going in.
Yeah. That was the question we had. Like, where would you put the Titans if we did more than the top 8, right, or bottom 3? Then where would you put them? 24 to 27, 24 to 28. Is that where they're sitting at? Like, and I heard somebody say it's not a bad team. They're a good team that's playing bad right now, and it just took another hit to the defensive side of it with Kevin Byard. And there's so many different layers to what Byard provided to this team, this franchise too, that has to be replaced on the field, in the locker room, and let's be real too, just the look of the team. Byard plays a part in that. That is an all-pro guy that's gone. And we're going to get more into it, Kayla. There's a lot to – we got calls still on the line we got to get to.
Yeah, we got plenty to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about with
Because
Byard.
we can't even break down this and get to the other stuff in terms of what the Titans look at safety now. Like, what is their look at safety now in terms of the depth?
Yeah,
like, we still got to get into all that. It's a trickle-down effect, folks. 1 hour down. We've got plenty more to come on RKW. We continue our conversation on Kevin Byard getting traded to the Eagles, and the Titans get a return, a player. Could he be playing right away? We'll ask Ramon Foster. Plus, we feel your calls coming up next on RKW 104.5 The Zone.
What's going on? Just about 7 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Monday Night Football last night, 49ers and Vikings closed out Week 7 with Minnesota stunning the 49ers 22-17. Jordan Addison had his best game of the season. 7 catches, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Another 2-tosser game for Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions. And now the 49ers with 2 losses in a row in as many weeks. San Fran still in first place in the division, but the Seahawks in striking distance at 4-2. The big news in the NFL yesterday, Titans trade safety Kevin Byard to the Philadelphia Eagles. Titans get a 2024 5th and 6th round pick in addition to safety Terrell Edmonds. Edmonds, a former first-round pick with the Steelers, has started 77 games in his career. On the year, Edmonds has 28 combined tackles and a forced fumble. Some NFL hits from yesterday. Broncos safety Kareem Jackson suspended 4 games for illegal hits. Jackson's 4-game suspension is the longest for a violation of player safety rules since Vontaze Burfict and Myles Garrett in 2019. Burfict was for targeting and Garrett was for unsportsmanlike conduct. And 2 injuries. Chiefs linebacker Nick Bolton and Bills tight end Dawson Knox will both need wrist surgery, and both are expected to miss time. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Good Tuesday morning, fine people of Middle Tennessee and all around the country. This is RKW on 104.5 The Zone alongside 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster.
Hey.
We've got Robert Walsh behind the glass, fueling lots of calls today. It's a busy day. I'm Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, enjoying some days off.
Yeah.
So it has been a crazy 24/7 hours, 24/7, 24 hours. There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
I feel like I've been going 24/7 though.
Well, they kind of
With this
blend
fire
together.
news.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right?
During the season.
It's been crazy. And you heard Robert Walsh during the intro there talk about the trade. And if you're not up to date yet, obviously Kevin Byard going to the Eagles for a 5th and 6th round pick from the Eagles, and then getting Terrell Edmonds, who we will get to here in the 7:20 hour. But fans are coming at us with all different opinions, and we want to make sure we get out to the people today. So we're going to go straight to the phones, and we're going to catch up with Richard in Winchester. Richard, what you feeling like this morning?
But I got a theory on how we can make the Derrick thing a little bit better. The trade deadline's next week, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
next Tuesday.
October
week from
31st.
today.
Okay, so you let Derrick play this week in Atlanta, and you trade him to lessen the blow. The Titans got 3 straight road games. If Tajay shines during those 3 straight road games, by the time the Titans come back home mid-November, late November, maybe some of that Derrick sting will be lessened, but I think it's time to blow the ship up. Just blow the ship up. I do not want to see Ryan Tannehill the rest of the season. I mean, see what you got with one of the other quarterbacks, but it's time we blew this thing up, man, and just quit trying to fight it. Just let Rand, be Rand, and blow the thing up right now. Especially if we lose to Atlanta. Blow this thing up.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah.
That's always the easiest thing to say and do, and I will not change y'all opinion on that or stop you from calling in and giving your opinion on how you guys feel about where this season is and where it's going and how it looks. But here's the thing too. I've been in a situation where we've been in 2 or 3 games below 500 too, and we fought and clawed back to get back in it, right? And I'm saying that to say this. The guys in the locker room don't feel like that, though. The guys in the locker room go out there and they want ready to win. They still got to give 110% each and every play. Whether you're subtracting pieces, to look worse or be worse to get more capital, fine. But it sucks for the guys that still got to be out there. Those dudes don't want to see KB leave.
No.
So I know where you guys are coming from. You're thinking about the future, and I'm in that mindset with you too, but it's still 53 plus 16 guys that still want to win games, plus the coaching staff. So I'm here for the opinions and comments, though, but the blow-up conversation is always hard for me from the player side. That's all.
Dustin in Laverne joining us now on RKW. What you got, Dustin?
Hey, good morning. I think that it's fair to say that everybody loved Kevin Byard. I mean, he was a great guy and a great player. But I don't have necessarily a problem with the trade or the value. I think it all kind of worked out pretty well. The only thing that hurts and cuts so deep is that it had to be with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm just about sick of this bull Sirianni. I just wanted to see what you guys were thinking about all the stuff with the Eagles going on. So have a good day.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dustin. Yeah, it's like that's a team right now. The way they're building that team and continuing to make moves here, with 6 games down or whatever it is. Maybe they've played 5. I can't remember. But they've clearly got a mission.
Yeah.
And they didn't hoist the trophy in the end last year. They came really dang close. But they're getting all the pieces to do it. Here's the thing. You still gotta execute.
Yeah, you do.
You can have all the pieces you want. And if you can't, in the end, raise that trophy, you look back and say, whoa, we made all those moves and we still couldn't do it. So they still have a ways to go. They've still got to get to that finish line. But they're surely adding those pieces. And it's frustrating when you're a fan of another team and you're seeing your big names go that way and have success. Now, we'll see what happens with Kevin Byard. I happen to think he will have some success. But look what A.J. Brown is doing. Obviously Mariota's a backup. But Zach Cunningham's in the starting lineup there.
He is?
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was in star.
Yeah.
He
and
was
I don't even think he barely saw the field here.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was hurt the whole time.
He had the elbow the entire time, but he goes to Philly.
He goes to Philly and he plays.
And become a starter and playmaker for him, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Tough. That's tough. If Byard get an interception the first game with the Eagles, I'm going to lose my noodle, okay? I'm going to absolutely lose it. I'm going to lose it. You hear me?
I hope Bert got that, but he didn't because he's on the phone.
He on the phone answering calls to everybody that's calling in this morning.
Yeah,
Golly.
This is a busy morning. Before we go to break, let's get to another call. Caples in Springfield this morning on Kevin Byard.
Overreaction Tuesday. How y'all doing?
What's up, Caples?
It's supposed to be for Mondays, Kate.
Ramon, it's kind of hard for me to listen to you say you can't relate. Of course you can't relate, man. You went to an organization that demanded excellence, that's in the playoffs every year, fighting for division championships. Y'all didn't know nothing about sucking, man. So you can't relate when you hear something about blow it up. When did y'all ever have to blow up anything in Pittsburgh? So except for blowing up Terrell Edmonds and getting him out of there, but that's a whole nother subject for another day. I just put it like this. Long-suffering Titans fans, we should be used to this. If they locked Steve McNair out of the building and traded him, then ain't nobody retiring a Titan here, man. You can hang that up. They let Eddie George go, you can hang that up. They traded Chris Johnson, you can hang it up. Ain't nobody retiring a Titan but Bruce Matthews, and that's because he was here as an Oiler. So, the NFL, no loyalty. So, I know we hurting because Byard is one of our favorites, but at the end of the day, good business is getting value for something before you let it go, right? Even if they trade Derek, like if you let him walk, you get nothing from him next year, right? Yeah. So as much as it hurts, do you want to hold on to veterans and have the organization going south, or do you start getting value and trying to go for the future? Because at least we ain't got J-Rob making the picks no more, right? Hopefully Rand can get some talent in here that'll help. So, I mean, I know everybody's hurting this morning. I am too. Kevin Byard was a great guy. My son went to his football camp. He's going to be missed, but, when it's time to pull the trigger, it's time to pull the trigger. So I guess everybody else is like sitting around wondering who's next. So we'll see. Love y'all. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Capes.
Kate.
Yeah, I mean, who is next? And that's a legitimate question because he made a great point. Derrick Henry will have no value to them after the season. If he's done, he's done.
Yeah.
And he walks away. And if you can get something for him now, then you take it. But the problem is according to Diana Rossini, who is now at The Athletic, who does an excellent job, over the past week at least, she said they had not really heard of a lot of teams that were inquiring about him.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you don't have a buyer, there's no place to go.
It's hard to get anything, any return on it. Yeah, it's a little surprising to me about Derek not having many calls, but it's not at the same time because of this. Respectfully, I say this, is he plays running back. And a lot of teams will realize they can go get another running back that may have a way cheaper salary than they got to inherit if they trade for Derrick Henry. Here's the thing, too. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
The fact that he's a Titan is the reason you love him the most when it comes down to 22 being here in Nashville. Outside of here, more times than not, some teams don't show that same appreciation that you have for your players. The same way that some people are upset still that Rand and Coach Vrabel in the front office traded Kevin Byard for a fifth or sixth and another human body. Okay, it's fascinating to me because that is still a lot of value. Those draft picks do not come easy. A fifth rounder, you find good value there. Sixth rounder, same thing. Of course, you expect them to be bigger role players, but I get it. The history of here, those sixth rounders and later guys, hit or miss. That's just simply what it is.
It is.
But we talked about this in the bye week. You got a GM now that's gone through two. Okay, breakdowns to the studs and build back up.
Exactly.
Okay, Atlanta had their run. He had a run with them. And then, of course, he had, three.
The Rams.
Okay, that's when him and Coach Mack, if I'm not mistaken, ran into each other there.
When it was St. Louis still.
And when they were in St. Louis and they had to make that move out to L.A. And then, of course, look what the 49ers were with Shanahan. They went through the pits, too.
Yep.
To get to where they are.
Yep.
So what do you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, it can get ugly before it get prettier, but getting more draft capital is always, I feel like, been the game plan.
And a lot of people, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
you're
off,
fine.
Kayla, but a lot of people are talking about, they draft so poorly in these late rounds. Like, how are they going to find somebody? They don't have to use these picks for these picks to be effective. If there's somebody they like in the third round, maybe they use one of these picks or package these picks together to move up and get another guy, an option that you didn't have when you don't have numerous picks.
Yeah.
So it just puts another arrow in their quiver, gives them something else to shoot out there and try. Like, and maybe they do draft at those spots, maybe they don't. But if you don't have those picks, you never know what you can get if you don't have them.
And here's a nice little note by our friend Austin Stanley. I thought this was good to put it in perspective. Kevin Byard is the 7th NFL player traded this season. The 2024 5th and 6th round picks are the highest compensation of any trade so far. Byard is just the second player to be moved for a 2024 pick. Randy Gregory was a 7th rounder pick. And all others were 2025 picks or beyond. So to note that these were 2024 picks at that this year when it comes to trade and compensation.
Look at the other guys that were traded, too. I mean, J.C. Jackson's a former leader in interceptions in the league.
Yep.
Cam Akers is a former second-round pick who's a young running back. Carlos Basham, second-round pass rusher. And these guys are
a high second-round
pass rusher who are getting traded for 7th-round picks.
Absolutely.
And they're young guys who could still be something in our own rookie deals. To get a 5th and a 6th for Byard, I feel like is great value when you look at what everyone else is going for.
And a body.
And to add to that, too, before we head into the break and get to these calls, and there's a lot to break down. I know Terrell because I played with him for a few years, too. So here's the thing, too. If you trust what Rand is capable of doing, let's look at the draft picks he had this year. Your 5th and 6th round picks are Josh Wiley, who I think we all are looking at and saying he could potentially be a guy. If it wasn't for the concussion at Ravens game, I think he had a big old role in that too. And the other one was Jalen Duncan, who I've heard nothing but watch his upside. That's what you're getting out of that. You're getting potentially a high return on such a low value for guys like that. So we'll see.
Speaking of Terrell Edmonds, I do want to ask you about him. Can he be in the starting lineup on Sunday? Because we're going to talk about the safety depth now with Kevin Byard gone. And we will take your calls because we've got them lining up here. It's RK Dub here on 104.5 The Zone.
One of the things I love about Genesis Diamonds is they're always bringing in new and fresh jewelry and diamonds, okay? You're never going to see the same old choices at Genesis. With diamonds, they're always bringing in fresh cut stones straight from the world's best diamond cutters, every size you can imagine, including the larger, rare diamonds. They have 3 and 5 and even 10-carat diamonds in stock, okay? Nobody has a diamond selection that can come anywhere close to what Genesis has. And with designer jewelry also, Genesis is partnering with all the top designers from New York and Los Angeles. And they're on the cutting edge when it comes to what's in style, what's hot, what's new and different. The stuff you see at Genesis, you will not find at other stores, guaranteed. So it's a constantly moving, constantly changing inventory, always new selection. It's another reason why Genesis dominates the jewelry scene and why people drive for 2 hours or more to be able to shop at this amazing store. They've got it all, though. Huge selection, uncompromising quality, unbeatable value, ironclad warranties, and white glove customer service. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes, too. New Rolexes have just come in at Genesis, official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans, and they're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Welcome back into Arcade Dub on this Tuesday. Kevin Byard, simply the best. I think that's a good way to put it when he was here.
I hate Bert because I knew this is why he played this, man. What is wrong with
Tina
you?
Turner bringing us in here.
It was either this or Creed.
I'm so glad you picked.
Wide open.
So glad you picked Tina.
Don't you do?
Tina, greater than Creed. Sorry.
What's wrong with you, dog?
My goodness. Yeah, our phone lines are absolutely
they are
stacked this
stacked.
morning, and rightfully so, because Kevin Byard was a favorite player here. A lot of Kevin Byard jerseys. Spent 7 seasons here, obviously drafted by the Tennessee Titans, and now is going to be wearing the green there in Philly.
Yeah, definitely. We're gang green now.
Yep.
Well, no, that's the Jets. He's not them. Yeah, no. Oh,
Kelly Green.
Kelly Green, yeah.
It's crazy, though, because he missed those throwbacks by a game, and he missed the Titans throwbacks by a game. Who would have thought?
Here's what's fascinating, too, before we take these calls, is this. Let's go back to the summer when we started having this conversation about Byard.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't expect something to happen as far as next year or this year, then, you probably weren't thinking correctly. And it all got salvaged because Byard decided to take a pay cut. And we had that conversation. How do players take, being asked to take a pay cut? And some receive it well because, hey, it is what it is. And this is my best option for the max amount of money I can get on this team, or just get cut and you just left with nothing, right? At the time that he was asked to take it, it's stool, and eventually they got to a point to where it worked for the Titans and it also worked for Kevin Byard too. Now, let's fast forward to what happened yesterday. You look at yesterday and you kind of say to yourself, well, we should have known something. It's a position that most teams feel like they can just fill up unless you have one of those dynamic guys, and the Titans did. That's the reason you got the value that you got for him with the 5th and 6th and with the player also being sent back to this team. It had to happen this way.
Had to.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
And respectfully, I'll say this too. For Miss Amy Adams-Strunk, Coach Vrabel, and new GM Rand Carthon to send him to a contender. I know it sucks because it's Philly and you feel like they're fleecing you again. I don't think that's the case. You look at this and you say at least they paid it forward by sending him to a team that can be good for him and his career. But it sucks on the back end of this thing. I feel like this is going to get taken down to the foundation at some point in time, and you start by building up by getting more draft capital.
Absolutely. Well said. Mark in Clarksville. We go out to Mark now. Mark, how you feeling this morning?
Oh, yeah. Hey, look, I'm on my way to the lake going fishing this morning. But I will tell you that I remember when he was drafted by the Titans. Great player, turned out to be a great pro. I was proud of what he did. He's Titan through and through. But let me say this. It ain't personal. It's just business. I get it. But I will tell you this. At the end of the day, he was probably disappointed when he got the news. But really, he's probably very grateful inside. They traded him to Philadelphia, a contender.
Yeah.
Because every NFL player wants a ring, want to compete for a ring. I think the front office knows that they need to rebuild. I give the Titans 4, maybe 5 wins, and I'm a season ticket holder, maybe 5 wins the rest of the way. I think this is a sign that they know they got to rebuild. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, appreciate you, Mark. And just to note, too, Kevin Byard is originally from Philadelphia.
Born
A
there.
lot of his family members are Eagles fans. So in a weird way, they're going
circle.
back to the full circle root of their fandom, I guess you could say. Okay, let's go out to our buddy, Mike in Cleveland. We're waiting for the horn this morning. We need that horn this morning, Mike. There we go.
That's it. I'm not doing the air horn this morning. Not this morning. Not the big horn. No, man. This is horrible, man. Look, I'm trying hard. Now, I'm trying hard to, y'all know me. Y'all know I'm a good guy fair, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying not to be Cuzzo right now. I'm trying to just be Mike. And it's really hard because I'm really mad and upset at all the fans that wanted free agent after free agent after free agent and passing out all this money to these players that didn't do nothing. Now here it is. We had our guy. Yeah, he might be from Philly, but he was the mayor of MBT, my hometown, and he was riding with the Titans, man. And when it came time to pay him, we had no money because we paid Julio, old poo-poo butt, injured butt. Man, look, y'all asked an important question. What's next for the Titans? What's next for the Titans is to draft better and let's have the money for our guys. As we cannot keep on looking outside of our draft, of our locker room for guys to come in and try to make them a superstar or try to make them be the face of the Titans when they was already, just because they got a name in Houston, just because they got a name in L.A. We got to keep our guys, man. I feel like this money situation could have been handled if we would have stopped screaming for all of these other free agents to come and rock two-tone blue, and we keep the two-tone blue that was drafted here, like we did with Big Jeff. Y'all can disagree with me. Y'all can be mad all you want to. I don't care. I'm saying it. It's rebuilding. I've been saying it all season long. They've been rebuilding. It ain't nothing new. This is just put the icing on top of it. I'm gone. Doses.
Thanks, Mike. Mike's fired up this morning.
Mike is fired
and I know a lot of people are, Ramon.
Yeah.
And look, Kevin Byard has been really good here, right? He's been a solid piece for them over the last 3 seasons. KB allowing a passer rating of just 67.8, nearest defender in coverage. That is third lowest in the NFL among DBs. A minimum of 100 targets, that per TD, Teron Davenport, our friend for ESPN. So the question to you, Ramon, is what's next for this safety position in terms of depth? Because Terrell Edmunds comes in over from Philly in that trade. Let's start with him because you played with him.
I did.
And he was a high draft pick at the time in what, 2018,
what year was Terrell
2017?
came in? Terrell came in 2018. 2018 draft, 28th overall pick, man. Played with Terrell, great individual. Let me throw that out there too. You're getting just as good a guy in the locker room. He has that savage in him. His deficiency will be in coverage. That's where he kind of got a little bit is in coverage. But when you're asking him to play inside the box, that's where he's going to thrive at. This team right here is known to be run stopping, known to be hard hitting. You're going to get that from Terrell. I feel like over his career, he has began to understand that a little bit more when it comes down to his size. He looks like a linebacker. Heck,
he's huge.
He's
6'2",
yeah, exactly.
200 and something.
220-ish pounds. You're going to get a guy that's going to play hard, and he's also playing for a contract himself. Again, his deficiencies, from what I've seen, have been in coverage. He has interception under his belt. He's a great compliment to what I think Armani is going to need moving forward. Is he KB? No, he's not. But again, here's the thing. At that position, they almost feel like it's plug and play at that safety spot. It just sucks because you had to lose a guy like Kevin Byard to get a guy like Terrell. You understand what this is as a team. It's a 1-year test drive for him. You get a guy to replace KB temporarily, or if Elijah Molden decides to step up. Here's the thing. There's a domino effect to a lot of things that can happen for this team. You get guys like Elijah that could step up. You get a guy like Terrell that says, look, I didn't re-sign in Pittsburgh. Well, I re-signed a 1-year deal, then signed another 1-year deal in Philly, and now I'm shipped off again. So either that chip grows on his shoulder a little bit more, and he proves himself, look, this is the freshest start I'm going to have here moving forward, or Elijah steps up. Those are the things we're looking at too. There's a lot of guys inside of that room already. Elijah, Matt Jackson, and Trey Avery, all these dudes. If you're looking for that opportunity, now is it. Go. Terrell's coming in potentially to be your starter, or at least going to play significantly.
Yeah.
But why let an outsider take what you've already been working on? He's smart enough and good enough, and the pedigree is there. It's a matter of consistency when it comes down to Terrell.
Yeah, Terrell Edmunds, like you mentioned, 1 year, $1,660,000 guaranteed in that, coming over from Philadelphia. And look, you talked about the depth a little bit at that position. You've got Amani Hooker. You've got Elijah Molden, which I have been a huge advocate for ever since he arrived here. However, this guy is NFL savvy as it gets. His dad played. He is so NFL smart, just football smart. And when he's out there and healthy,
it's good.
He can be a difference maker, right? He can be good. But the problem has been that hamstring. And he even told me in the locker room a few weeks ago, I'm dealing with this hamstring. It's off and on, it's off and on. And unfortunately, in the National Football League, you've got to be more consistent. I mean, look at Kevin Byard. Barely missed a game.
Right.
I mean, he was out there, and that's unique, by the way. And I'm not saying that's got to be the case for every player. But Elijah Molden has just not been able to be on the field consistently. So that's hard when it's your depth player and he's not always available. And then Matthew Jackson, he's a rookie here from in Nashville, actually, right here in Nashville. So he's young.
He
right?
is. And that's the thing, too. Terrell does have the pedigree also. Dad played in the NFL, former third-round pick.
Yeah,
his brother. Tremaine plays now for Chicago, first-round pick, and he also has a brother, Trey, that plays running back. So the pedigree is in Terrell. Everybody's been asking Terrell, hey, do that thing. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully he shows that here in Nashville, man. Of course, former teammate of mine. I'm rooting for him to watch him succeed. And yes, y'all, I eventually we'll get past all my teammates. Coming to Nashville.
They're just coming here
From
now.
Ola to Bud,
right?
to friggin' the Hub to now Terrell. It's fascinating, man.
They're following Moan here.
Yeah, y'all are like Terrell as soon as he start making plays for you.
Let's go back out to the phone lines because our phone lines continued to be rocking here. Scott in Franklin on Kevin Byard. What's up, Scott?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not much. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. Man, so I was just wondering, as far as, like, filling up the stands in the new stadium coming and all that, like, last year when we were going through our 7-game slide at the very end of it, I mean, on Facebook, social media, you couldn't give Titans tickets away. So I think the front office, the organization, they need to take a real deep look at what they're trying to do and just do it. Like, just go full in, go for it, go for the rebuild. Try to make everybody understand as fast as possible because it's not there with Malik Willis. He's trash. Will Levis, I'm pretty sure, is trash. It's because how we've drafted before. I just think that the organization just needs to, they just need to stay on the ground and just say, hey, this is it. We're rebuilding. Just stick with us because, they ultimately have to have our support. So I'm just going to hang up and hear what you guys think.
Thanks, Scott. So Ramon over here cringed a little when he said Will Levis trash.
I did.
I think Will Levis, honestly, though, is part of what they hope is the rebuild at the most important position for this team moving forward, and that's quarterback. And look, we might get our firsthand look at Will Levis this weekend. That's to be determined. We'll hear more from Mike Vrabel Day. I'll be out there at his press conference at 11. We'll keep you updated on that tomorrow. Maybe he'll have some updates, but I think you got to give this guy a chance.
You have.
And look, I'll be the first to admit, I'm not the biggest Will Levis fan. I wasn't one saying draft him in the first round. I wasn't. But guess what? He's here now. From everything that Mike Vrabel says, and I know he's got to tell us good stuff mostly, but not all the time. Mike Vrabel's pretty blunt with the things he says.
Right.
He likes what he's seen out of Levis in terms of the growth. And look, he could have been the backup maybe if he didn't get hurt in the preseason. We don't know that, right?
We don't.
He was dealing with that thigh injury, and we didn't get to see him continue to develop. But now he's healthy. And if we get a chance to see him, at least let the kid have a chance.
Yeah, and let's say this too. Maybe you guys watched a lot of film on him in college, or maybe you saw clips and highlights on ESPN like a lot of us just in general. But don't let your fandom, when it comes to any one of these guys of your college allegiance, distract you from the fact that this kid could be good. This young man could be good. Don't let that take over. The first time he throws an interception, you're booing because he went to the school that you don't like. Like, unless you're really watching film on his mechanics, because you don't move up to take a guy like this if you don't believe in some of the film that he's had out there. The intangibles, I feel like, are there when it comes to Levis, right? Mm-hmm. It's a matter of opportunity, growth, and just putting them in the right position, too. Like, you got to be married to your coordinator and what they're capable of doing for you, too. Don't let that get in the way of what could be a good thing for you, because here's the other thing, too. The guys that you don't like that's been in those positions and the players that you're all crapping on right now as far as, we 5th and 6th rounders have done this and that guy sucking, this guy sucking. We never had a history of doing a good thing. Here's the other side of this. We have a new regime inside that building now. And until we see what Rand Carthon's capable of doing, then let's hold back on the criticism of these young guys, because I think you like Tajay right now. I think you like Peter Skoronski right now. I think what we've seen out of Josh Wiley has been solid this year. Jalen Duncan, I've heard nothing but great things about as far as what he's capable of being if he grows in the game, and you hadn't had a reason to see him in games either. So I understand what history has shown you, but now you've gone in a totally different direction as far as hiring Rand, his conversation with Vrabel, and the intentions of Miss Amy Adams-Strunk, too, to be better. Yes, I know the conversation, you can't give away Titans ticket, and what are you going to do about that stadium in 2027, 2028? That's down the line anyway. What this team is as far as transitioning out of potentially Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and other guys who are in the fold, they weren't going to be in that stadium anyway. And somehow, at some point in time, you were going to have to build this thing back up anyway. So what do? How do you do that? You get capital. And it sucks to go through this. It does. But that's just what it is when it all breaks down.
Yeah. It's reality. It's a dose of reality. Unfortunately, sometimes we all got to deal with that, and Titans fans dealing with that right now. 6 games into the season. We'll see what happens next, obviously, this weekend as Arthur Smith and a whole bunch of former Titans roll into town. Coming up next, though, we're going to continue to take your calls. A lot of questions here from the fans on Kevin Byard. What's next for the Titans? Is Derrick Henry the next to go? We'll give an update on that as well. That's all coming up on RKW 104.5 The Zone.
It's football season. It's time to switch to Zen Sports, the fastest growing sportsbook in Tennessee, changing the betting bonus game with their cash rewards program. Like when you sign up for Zen Sports with the referral code, earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back on your total betting volume for the first 15 days of betting. 5%. Think about that for a second, okay? That's kind of insane. Zen Sports also offers an incredibly easy to navigate mobile app, so you can find the bets you want to make on the games you want to bet on, and they guarantee you won't find an easier way to build your parlays either. So what are you waiting for? Stop wasting your time and money on other sports books when you could be earning real cash rewards with Zen Sports. Download today on the App Store or at zensports.com. Your wallet will thank you later. But if you have a gambling problem, listen to me. Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet.
Man, this one hits you hard. Look at Robert Walsh just spinning the hits that are hitting us hard this morning.
If you play at the end of the road by Boys and Men, I swear
don't
I'm
give
coming.
it out,
I'm
no.
going behind the
Ron
glass.
Slay might ride if that happens.
I swear, my fists are clenched right now, Burr.
Every life you take.
Oh, man. It is a fine morning still, though, here
It
in Middle
is,
Tennessee,
man.
across the country. If you're tuning in from other parts, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, it's been a busy one because obviously you feel a certain way about Kevin Byard being traded to the Philadelphia Eagles, and rightfully so. He was the mayor and will be the mayor always of Murfreesboro, and just a solid player here from the Tennessee Titans since he was drafted 7 seasons ago. So we continue to take your calls this morning, and we're going to go ahead and head out to Tom in Murfreesboro. Look at that, how that's set up so nicely. Tom, what you thinking this morning? How you feeling?
Good. First, I feel they did him a little disservice, whatever, him taking a pay cut. I know Ramon touched on that, but I just hope that doesn't come back and bite him in the Tennessee in the butt, whatever, with in the future now with players, say they come in and want you to take a pay cut, and seeing how they treated him like that. Well, are you going to be willing to take a pay cut now, knowing that the guy's going to probably might end up trading you anyway? That's my one point. But the main reason I called is everyone talks about players and doing this and quarterbacks and all that. It's like last year this time we were 7-2, or I believe 7-2, something like that, and then we lost the last 7 games in a row. And then all of a sudden we lost, and we lost the 7 games in a row, and we start out this season 2-4. Well, if you tell that story to basically anybody, why is the coach still here with that kind of a thing like that? Something happened. We didn't have a major injury or anything like that. Something happened in the locker room there where a switch went off, and we're losing all these games all of a sudden now. I can just think I'm going to see what you have to say in the comments on that, whatever, but that's all I really called for.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Tom. Listen, last year there was injuries. There were just as many close to the year before when they had set a record for transactions. Right. Plus your major injury, Ryan Tannehill, who had the ankle issue towards the end of the season. So that string of 7 losses, they were dealing with the skeleton crew.
They were.
And obviously, you fire Todd Downing at the end of that all. Look, Mike Vrabel is definitely now, things are heating up a bit, but this is his first year with Rand Carthon, the new general manager. All of this, a lot of this in terms of personnel at least, with players, draft picks that didn't work out, a lot of that does come back on John Robinson, and now they're still dealing with it.
There is. There's still remnants of that for sure, Kayla. And I get where everybody's coming from. We'll see if, how it pans out for Byard. Of course, like you said, asking him to take a pay cut, he did. Maybe the pay cut is what allowed this. And also to this, too, the Titans are also eating almost $14 million of Byard's dead cap for next year. So there was a little bit of business deal, which is probably how you got 2 picks and a player for him, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that dead cap money, $13.36 million in 2024, by the way, for Kevin Byard in this trade. Let's go back out to the phone lines and pick up with Mario in Memphis. Hey, Mario.
Oh, good morning, y'all. How you doing?
Good morning.
Only time I call is when I got a problem, man. When the team doing good, I don't call. But when we looking bad, when I see some things that I don't like, that's when I'm going to call and say something. Ramon, for a fact, I always called and said this. The Titans is bad with money. Now, if you're going to go in full rebuild mode, why did you bring that bum 17 back? Why did you do that? If you're going to go in full rebuild mode, you got a second-round pick, a quarterback you drafted, and you got a third-round draft pick that you drafted in quarterback. Why would you bring this man back with $30-some million? Then you go sign B-Hop. The worst mistake we made when we let A.J. Brown go, they set us back eons. Now, everybody talking about Mike Vrabel. The seat is heating up just like she just said. It's heating up because stuff you doing don't make no sense. It looked like we was tanking when we played last week. 2 weeks ago. When you got to the 1-yard line, Derrick Henry standing on the sideline with his helmet and you running all these start forsaking awful plays that you call it. I mean, man, we sitting back looking at this. If you're going to rebuild, then rebuild. First of all, if you're going to rebuild, cut the highest cap hit that you're going to take, which is Ryan Tannehill. Now you got to eat that $13 million next year and cap hit for Kevin Byard. You ask this man to take a pay cut, then you come back and backstab him and cut him. This guy love the Titans. He love the community. The people in Tennessee love Kevin Byard. That's a stab in the heart. It's just like getting rid of McNair. Everybody love McNair. And you let him, and you locked him out the building and play for the Titans because you will get backdoored. Like Keith Bullock said, we got to change this narrative that Tennessee don't like paying players. But you keep Tannehill, and he linked to Mike Vrabel. And Mike Vrabel, that might just cost you your job. Ryan Tannehill. Now I'm done.
Mario, that was beautiful.
Lil Yo came through, man. He was so calm to
Look
start.
at that. The ending just was like a dismount with a perfect landing. With the background, everybody hurts.
Yeah.
That was art right there.
That's where you at.
But you know what? I mean, and look, in the chat, F&M Bake Chat is just, I mean, it is just fire. Like, it's just fire today. Has been for the last 2 days. Somebody had mentioned, retired SF, I think, you know, hey, cut the collar off once they say Vrabel doesn't take any of the blame. That's not what we're saying at all. We're saying you have to start from where it started, though, right? And now Mike Vrabel is the next up in terms of you got to get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to make good choices moving forward with the GM in collaboration with him, because you're right. I mean, if there's another person to go at some point, it would be Vrabel before the GM.
Yeah.
But that's a ways out, I think.
It's so much to talk about with this, though, too, as far as, you know, the fault being thrown on Vrabes. The expectation of coaching is always going to be at the forefront of it, too, and everybody wants to point a finger at it. I'll say this, too. I don't think, Mario, you are capable of cutting Tannehill this year, too, because his dead cap hit would have been $45 million. You at least got to get something out of somebody who you're going to leave $45 million on the books for. So that's why you got Tannehill, but that's also part of the reason getting Julio too is making Ryan Tannehill, you know, restructure his deal, which is why his cap number is so high also.
Yeah.
So there's a trickle down effect of all things that's happened, and it started with John Robinson and that window we all spoke about of like, hey, we got to win now. And now you find yourself, you know, having to pay the piper when it comes down to you wanting to be above board with the cap and just player and performers on the field. So there's a lot to still digest from this. And luckily for us, Austin Price got pushed back a little bit. So we're still open for calls, and we will hear you guys' reaction.
Yeah, we have got the line still loaded. 615-737-1045. The Zone. Kevin Byard being traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. How do you feel? We get more into that. Plus Austin Price coming up a little later in the hour. 2 down, 2 to go here on RKW 1045 The Zone.
What's going on? Good morning. 8 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Monday Night Football last night, 49ers and Vikings closing out Week 7, where Minnesota stunned the 49ers 22-17. Jordan Addison had his best game of the season, 7 catches, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions, and now the 49ers with 2 losses in as many weeks. San Francisco still in first in their division, but the Seahawks in striking distance at 4-2. The big news in the NFL yesterday, Titans trade former All-Pro safety Kevin Byard to the Philadelphia Eagles. Titans get a 2024 5th and 6th round pick in addition to safety Terrell Edmunds. Edmunds is a former first-round pick with the Steelers and has started 77 games in his career. On the year, Edmunds has 28 combined tackles and a forced fumble. Some NFL hits from yesterday. Broncos safety Kareem Jackson suspended for 4 games for illegal hits. Jackson's 4-game suspension is the longest for violating a player safety rule since Vontaze Burfict and Myles Garrett in 2019. Burfict was for targeting. Garrett was for unsportsmanlike conduct with a helmet. Chiefs linebacker Nick Bolton and Bills tight end Dawson Knox needs wrist surgery. Both are expected to miss time. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Good Tuesday morning, fine people. It is Ramon, Kayla, and Will. It is a beautiful day here in Middle Tennessee, and lots of feelings going around. We're in our feelings here as the Tennessee Titans trade Kevin Byard to the Philadelphia Eagles. We are brought to you by RKW, is brought to you by, I should say, 8th and Roast. We're brewed up by 8th and Roast. 3 locations. If you're looking, they're all over. 8th Avenue, Charlotte, and the airport, plus just added one here on West End. 8th and Roast coffee cultivates community by the cup. You can find your favorite retail bag also at your local Kroger and Whole Foods store, too. It's the best coffee around, and we're getting fueled up by it this morning because there's a lot to talk about. I mean, I'm stumbling over my words because I've had so much coffee this morning. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to get through the show.
Exactly. Well, you can find these ways. By the way, the new location's in Midtown, I was told.
Midtown, okay.
Yeah,
Midtown.
and they're also in Publix these days, too.
Perfect.
Big time. They're branching out
They're
out
Publix, too. Okay, so that's newly added. That's Ramon Foster. He's evolved for life. Robert Walsh behind the glass. I don't think he's had a break. I think his hands are getting tired from all the phone calls he's answered because the lines are still loaded. And I'm Kayla Anderson. Will Bowling is taking the next couple of days off, getting some rest and recovery. And we're holding it down here for y'all. And the big news of the day, Kevin Byard traded yesterday to the Philadelphia Eagles. It was made official last night by the Tennessee Titans, getting a 5th and 6th round pick in 2024 and a body in Terrell Edmunds, who really could start.
He probably will start
Sunday.
and play. Elijah Molden might get first crack at it because he understands
if
the
he's
defense.
healthy, right?
Yeah, if he's healthy. But opportunity awaits for a lot of people, including Terrell. And, of course, you wish Byard the best in Philly. Oh,
yeah.
Lot.
Absolutely. We are going to go straight out to the phones because they are lit right now. Let's go to Henry in Lebanon, and he's got some thoughts on Titans players that have made their way over to Philly here recently.
Morning.
Good morning, Ramon, Kayla. How we doing?
Good. How you doing?
All right. Ramon, I heard you say earlier in the show we shouldn't feel slighted about this Byard trade, man. I feel slighted, man. The Eagles now have 4 former Titans players. They have A.J. Brown. They have Julio Jones. They got Marcus Mariota. Now they got Kevin Byard. Mickey and Blaine have coined the term Atlanta, Tennessee, Top Vikings. We got to coin one for the Eagles. That's all I got.
Henry, I know it's crazy. And Zach Cunningham's over there, a linebacker out of Vanderbilt who played over here. Well, kind of played here last year, was dealing with that elbow issue.
Paid him
but
a nice bag.
now he's over there starting. And you're right. It's hard to see because we all were poking fun at Arthur Smith kind of bringing over a lot of Titans players. Now you've got the Eagles there doing that. So we appreciate you, Henry. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, new rivalry's just been initiated in Nashville. It's the Philadelphia Heat. Good morning. Hey, let's go.
Yeah.
I think Henry's still on the line.
Is Henry still on? Oh.
Is Bert back there?
All good, yeah. Bert
Oh, there we go.
back there.
Okay, Henry, we appreciate you calling in. It's just
Thank
crazy
you.
back here. Let's go back to the phones. Brandon and Lebanon as well on Kevin Byard.
Morning, Brandon.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How are y'all?
What's up?
Good morning.
Doing good. Hey, I was going to eat crow. I was going to call yesterday and eat crow, or I thought I was going to have to eat crow after that Tennessee-Alabama game, but I didn't have to, Ramon. So, but anyway, hey, so I've been with a fan of the Titans since we got here, and we went through the whole debacle of McNair, Griffin, Eddie, all these premier players that we sat behind forever and rooted on forever. And, when we drafted Byard, it was like, hometown body. We knew that he was going to put something on the field because we heard all the time about how great he was at MTSU. And the same thing goes now. It's a business. You know that more than anybody, Ramon, that this is a business. And regardless he's at the back end of his career right now, which in the NFL, you want to get younger, not older. And I'm not saying that he's not a great player. He's a great player. But I think to get the capital of what we got and to get another player in return, I think that was a good deal, honestly, in my opinion. But I hate losing him. Much love to him, and I hope he, prospers well out there and he gets him a championship just like the rest of the guys that were here. We got to root for the guys that were here at one point in time.
Yeah.
As bad as it, people don't want to say that, that's not true. I still root for AJ.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate it, guys.
Hey, appreciate it, Brandon. Very realistic there.
He
in
was.
his thoughts.
Absolutely, man. I just want to throw this out there, too. Of course, Byard's getting older. He's 30 years old. But here's the thing, too. You had Kansas City sign the Honey Badger in year 7 and end up winning the Super Bowl, and he was all pro and everything, too. Like, I know the idea that you're thinking Byard's on the back end of his career, but, heck, the Honey Badger's still playing real good ball right now, too. And if we're being honest with one to another, you got 2 all-pros that still playing ball well at their age. Honey Badger's 31.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. And what he did, what he was capable of doing for Kansas City, that's probably why also you had Philly trade for a guy like Kevin Byard.
Right.
He could be that X factor that they need for their defense.
And it looks like that's where they want to go with that safety position. Look, he joins Darius Slay, James Bradbury. We all know Reed Blankenship, younger player out of MTSU, obviously. He's been in the league for a few years now. Will join Blue Raider Kevin Byard now. But I think that's kind of what they're looking for. It looks pretty solid in terms of that.
You mentioned in that secondary that Philly got, Kayla. That was just a knife right there every single time. That is a daggone good secondary. God,
it is pretty legit.
Why would you even go down that road, Kayla?
I know.
Come on, man.
I'm just diving in knives here to everybody's sides. Let's go to Jason really quick. He's been waiting patiently on the line. Jason in Nashville. Jason?
Morning, Jay.
Are we going to Jason in Murfreesboro? Okay, we're going to Jason in Murfreesboro first.
Hey, guys, good morning.
Morning.
I got a little sadness, and then I got a little truth afterwards. So here's my sadness. I want to say... Oh, shoot, I done messed it all up. Oh, man. I had the song and everything going. Anyway, we'll skip that. But anyways, I'll say the truth. The truth part is, you got Rand Cawthorn just come in here. He come from a good place, with the 49ers, and they have a good thing going there. Yeah, they're kind of struggling at the moment, but you got to trust the process. As a Titans fan, you got to bite your tongue, man, because he just came in here. You got to give him a chance to prove himself, to show you that he's going to turn this Titans team around.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I got to say. You just got to give him a chance, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all mad at Byard's gone, but he's almost out of his he's out of his prime, man. He's and we got 3 people for him. We got a player already, and we're getting 2 for next year. So just hold your tongue, guys.
Jason, what's that song? Did you remember it?
Yes. Oh shoot!
You didn't remember. Dang it, man!
No,
It's American Idol.
I got it. Hold on. It's so hard to say goodbye.
Don't you dare sing that song. Ron Slay gonna get you. Don't you dare sing that. Cut him, Bert. No. Why would you do that, Bert?
Oh my gosh. If you guys don't know, Ron Slay cannot. He's like, I'm done with that song by Boys to Men.
Yeah.
Obviously, Joe Hunkapiller has played the heck out of it on 3HL, and Slay's like, I'm not coming on the show if that plays. So that cannot play during his time here.
He did say that.
At 9:20.
It will definitely not play
Okay.
in the last segment when it doesn't
All right.
matter if he goes or stays.
There we go. It was like American Idol. He would have probably got booed by the judges because he got stage fright on that
Yeah,
one.
he did get stage fright.
That's all right.
Come
He
on,
came
Jason.
back big. Let's go to the other Jason in Nashville. That's what I was trying to get out to because he has been waiting patiently. What's up, Jason?
Morning, Jay.
Hey, good morning, guys. Kayla, first things first. OH.
I-O.
That's right. So I want to speculate here just a little bit. You guys may have covered this earlier, maybe not. People have called in and talked about if the Titans were going to rebuild, why bring Tannehill back and this and that, and throwing out other ideas. My thought is this. I believe that Vrabel and Carthon both really, in their hearts and in their football minds, believed that Tannehill was our best shot of winning. And I think yesterday's trade, I think they fully intended to try to compete this year. I think yesterday's trade may have signaled something else. Maybe Tannehill's injury on Sunday is significant enough that they expect him to miss significant time. If they're going to have to play the rookies, they might as well get what they can for the pieces we have. Is that and that, again, it's pure speculation on my part, but is that way far-fetched in your guys' opinion?
No, I don't think it is, Jason. I think there's many things you can look at. You can't count that out, though. You're right. I mean, he could have gotten a little bit more opinion over the bye week. We might not know a lot. We could find out today when Vrabel speaks at 11 what direction they could be going in with Tannehill. But I think that, that could always be a part of it, or it could just be the fact that they knew they could get something for Kevin Byard now. They know they need picks coming up in the 2025 draft.
They do.
Or 2024, excuse me.
2024, yeah.
They need picks. So it's like, why not do that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're already trying to build for the future.
You will. And you're getting a test run with a lot of different things this season right now. If Levis is rolling this week, we'll see what it'll look like. There's a bunch of moving parts right now, and there's more to get to, Kayla, after this. It's hot and heavy today, y'all, and it should be.
Yes, we will continue the conversation. Plus, we have Austin Price of On3 Sports. He is coming up in this hour as well. We'll navigate for just a bit and talk some college football and Tennessee Vols. So continue to bring in your phone call, 615-737-1045 on this Reaction Tuesday here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Kevin Byard dancing his way into Philly, hoping now to get a Super Bowl ring with it. Robert Walsh is getting a kick out of finding the saddest songs today here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will this morning. This is a sad one, by the way. But guess
I
what?
don't even know this, and it sounds sad.
It has a positive thing. Like the
It
love of her
does.
life got away,
Right.
and she's hoping that at any obstacle, she's wishing him nothing but the best, and that when he has the opportunity to sit it out or dance, that he dances.
She hopes he dances. Exactly. I have some really good news, though, for Titans fans.
What's that?
This might perk them up here. Now, you got to wait till next year, folks. But this might at least make you smile this morning. So I was just doing a little research here. And overthecap.com, we've talked about this a little bit, but the Titans have the second most salary cap this next year.
Available cap?
Available
Really?
cap, $99,682,016, baby.
Oh, yeah? Oh, for $99 million?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. I mean, can you be patient enough?
The Bears have the most
I would, yeah.
with 110 plus.
I have a take on that, though, too, when it comes down to the amount of money you have as far as the cap goes. I'm not sure if we want to have that now or later, just because we've seen this happen with teams that overspend.
Got to be smart.
And then you find yourself being good for a quick moment in time, and then you are trash. I got a few teams in mind that has done this type, have done this type of thing. Jags have done it. Rams have done it. Tampa did it. We're looking at Buffalo kind of go through it a little bit right now. Cincinnati, like there's a lot of teams that have lived that world and crash and burn afterwards. So I'm hoping with Rand and Vrabel and Miss Amy Adams Trunk moving forward that they're at least not foolish.
Yes.
Because what's the old saying? A fool and his money will soon depart. You lose your jobs if you're practicing, bad spending habits like that. So that's a great place to be if you're trying to get back to that point to where you're on the pedestal. Definitely.
And at least you're not the Saints. You're in the red,
Saints.
83 million plus. Have fun with that. Let's go back to the phone lines now. Waiting patiently, Jay in Nashville on Kevin Byard.
What's up, y'all?
Not much.
What's
Good morning.
up?
Man, I just got my Egg McMuffin with cheese. About to give me a Red Bull. Everything's about to be right, right in the world and everything.
There we
But
go.
if your boy want to play something real sad, what's that song? Although we go to the end of the road. I'm telling you. And the only thing that's more annoying than that song is hearing fans cry about stuff that they're not willing to understand, or fans that's not willing to think 2 steps ahead along with their organization. And especially when the organization ain't thinking 2 steps ahead either. But this move is like a 2 steps ahead move. But a lot of these moves, I think, there's a lot of moves I think that this organization should have made like last year. I know everybody's talking about Derrick Henry getting ready to be out the door. He probably should have been out the door last year. And that's not saying anything bad about Derrick Henry. Like when people hear stuff like that, they think it like you're trashing the player or trashing. Like no. It's playing chess and not checkers, man. And like even with Tannehill, that's a move that should have been made probably 2-3 years ago. You know what I mean? Like I say, it's chess not checkers for like fans to call up, be upset, and then I hear fans talking about Vrabel needs to go somewhere. I tell you right now, Vrabel will gladly go to another organization that's thinking 2-3 steps ahead, rather than having to deal with should we trade this, should we not trade this guy. Like, yes, you should make these trades. Get younger. Get some draft picks. Get some equity because, you know what? A lot of these teams that are being successful, they're not scared to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Look at the organization that Vrabel came from, the Patriots. They are not scared to pull the trigger on anybody. And that's what's made them win so many Super Bowls. So it's like all these fans, like put your ignorance down. Quit being a fan and be a fan. Like, be a fan of the game and not just a fan of your team. If you study the game, you're a fan of the game, you understand these moves, and you're not sitting up here calling and complaining and this, that, and just what do they call it, being delusional about, like, moves that are made, basically.
Yeah.
Jay speaking some truth today. Everybody handles that differently as a fan. I get it. But that is, a dose of reality, and sometimes you just have to make the moves, right? Jeremy in Southern Illinois is going out to you now.
Oh, wow.
Jeremy, how you doing up there in Illinois?
Not too bad. We're doing really well.
Good.
Good.
Let me just do this part, man. Just one part's for KB. Just let me finish before you.
Go ahead.
before you cut me
The
off.
floor is yours. I'll never take your opinion in the stance away.
to the Super Bowl. I hope it's worth all the wait. That's for you, KB. I hope you're listening, bro.
Oh, my goodness. I think we got American Idol on this channel this morning. I don't even know this is Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
Oh, my gosh. Jeremy, what the heck, man?
I'm telling you. I mean, get in your votes for sad songs now because they're up. By the way, put a poll up on Ramon, Kayla, and Will if you guys want to go vote now. With the Titans looking like they are sellers at the trade deadline, which is October 31st, who is the next player to likely be on the way out of Tennessee if there is one? Derrick Henry leading the way now at 42.9%. Sneakily behind him, Danico Autry at 22.6%. Yeah, then DeAndre Hopkins at 15.5%. And finally, bringing up the rear, Christian Fulton at 19%. Go and get your votes in, almost at 300 votes right now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's getting a feel for what's going on right there.
It absolutely is.
Golly.
So we are going to be switching gears for just a second, for just a bit here, and talk a little college football in terms of the Tennessee Volunteers. What's next for them? Kentucky is next for them.
Kentucky is next for them in prime time, 7:30 kickoff,
Exactly.
if I'm not mistaken.
At Kentucky.
At Kentucky. I mean Kentucky, in Lexington.
Yeah, that's okay. You can say it.
Yeah, Flexington. Right? Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Flexington.
Yeah.
The home of Will Levis.
I mean, honestly, yeah,
Right?
it is.
The team whose basketball team plays next to an antique mall.
Is it really? I've never been.
Oh yeah, it's in a strip mall.
Is it? Corrupt arenas in a strip mall?
Yeah, it's right next to. You can go get you a good flea market
That's
trip
great.
in, find you some antiques for your granny, and watch some Wildcat basketball.
Exactly. I love
Yeah.
it. I'll have to make a trip up there sometime to see that. That's pretty funny. But Austin Price going to be joining us next to talk that and much more. Plus, we'll get back to your phone call, 615-737-1045. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will on this fine Tuesday morning, 1045 The Zone. Hey, it's Kayla Anderson for the Wang Vision Institute. Went in there a couple months ago, got my eyes checked. Feeling good about that for right now, at least. But yeah, they definitely put me through the ringer in such a good way because I hadn't got my eyes checked in probably 20 years. But they do everything from eye treatments like LASIK surgery, just getting you in the right direction on your future eye health. And they are also caring about your skin now. That is right. They're offering the intense pulse light treatments. I went in and got mine done last week. If you're wondering what it is, for men, for women, whatever you want, a photofacial treatment that rejuvenates the skin after sun damage. And then after you've kind of seen those dark spots appear as we get older, right? We all see that. Treatments also even out your skin tone and your texture as well. Maybe you deal with hyperpigmentation, something I deal with. Definitely this helps. It's so quick. IPL, you get in there. It takes 20 to 30 minutes to perform that. They actually also go on the lids of your eyes to help dry eye, which I never even thought was possible. And I deal with that living here in Nashville. You guys probably do too with the allergies. They do that as well with this IPL. To learn more, you can visit wangvisioninstitute.com. They are also offering some free online vision seminars. That's every Tuesday. So today at 6:45, you can RSVP and schedule your free consultation and treatment today at wangvisioninstitute.com. Your skin and your eyes will thank you for the long-lasting results. We needed a little bit of that.
We
need a little break in glass because we've had some sad songs on this radio station this morning. But we're here, changing gears now. Austin Price, our good friend of VolQuest.com on 3 Sports, joining us this morning to talk a little Tennessee Volunteers. How you doing, Austin?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Do you really
We've been
want to know?
psychologists today, Austin.
Well, that's why I'm here. I'm here to cheer everybody up. You know, the Stone Cold music does kind of get the blood flowing
It does.
a little bit.
It does. Yeah,
We got to break out of this Tuesday funk.
We do. And you know what? The Volunteers want to break out of a funk, too. Obviously, not able to get it done in Tuscaloosa this past weekend. Austin, for you, what's the biggest take in that game in terms of they can fix that here coming into this weekend with Kentucky?
Well, I think you saw the potential that's there in the first half. And, the second half, I guess, left a lot to be desired. But you saw the potential there. Tennessee able to move the ball through the air in the first half. Joe really solid, 175 through the air. Got to continue to play that way. If he continues to play that way, they're going to have a really good shot to beat Kentucky and Missouri on the road. The defense, I think, is going to travel on the road. I think the defense will be there Saturday. I think the defense will be there at Missouri. Missouri's a little better than Kentucky on offense, but either way, I think this is a team that can still get to 9-3. And who knows with that Georgia game on a 10 Neyland, Tennessee's been really good under Josh Heupel at home.
We've talked a lot about this in the NFL, Austin, but seems to be an issue all around football, the red zone. Obviously an issue with Tennessee, too, being able to convert there. What is it about the red zone that there's some deficiencies there, and is it fixable?
Well, I like to say they kind of are who they are. I think that they can get some better. I'm not sure that they're ever going to be what they have been the last few years in the red zone, Kayla, but I think it kind of in two parts. One, it's less room for the defense to have to cover, and that bogs down for any team, no matter how good you are. Two, Joe's howitzer of an arm kind of shows up a little bit in the red zone as a deficiency. He did throw a beautiful touch ball to McAllen Castles, but if he throws the pass to Jacob Warren in the first half with any kind of touch, that's a touchdown instead of having to kick a field goal. So, I think little things like that. And then Tennessee's, not ran the ball as well once they've got down inside the red zone. But, I think that maybe they can improve a little. I'm not sure that they're going to be dramatically better, but I'm not sure you have to be dramatically better down the stretch against some of these teams. I think, you just have to be adequate. And if Tennessee can be adequate, I think they'll turn more trips in the red zone into more touchdowns, and which will give them a better flow offensively.
When you look at the pathway of where Heupel is right now, getting to the SEC and coaching, being a head coach in the SEC, there's certain things I feel like we've seen in games where it's just like, okay, these are growth moments. You know what I'm saying? As far as the decisions being made, how you coach up a team, and just kind of tempering the attitudes of the team and how you approach one half versus the next. Are we seeing that grow from Heupel, as a coach in the SEC now to where he can manage and predict things a little bit better, or is that something we need to see moving forward from him?
I think you're seeing growth. I'm not sure he's there yet, right? Like, I think you saw tremendous growth in knowing how to, alter kind of what you want to do to win the game against Texas A&M when you weren't able to do much through the air. You threw for 100 yards. Then last week, I won't call it a setback, but I think you saw like kind of the old tendencies playing in, playing at UCF, playing at Missouri, playing in the Big 12 at Oklahoma when you're calling plays based off of you got the ball at the 47, you're up 3. Alabama's got a little bit of momentum in the second half. Obviously, when they, scored 10 unanswered, punt the ball away. Don't give them a chance to get a stop, get the crowd into it more, another score, boom, all of a sudden you're behind. Punt the ball away, especially when your punter looked like Ray Guy reincarnated Saturday. I mean, I think that's a moment where, I think if he had a do-over, he'd probably do it over. But, you don't get do-overs. You don't get to replay the second quarter at Florida, and you don't get to replay the third quarter at Alabama. This isn't a makeup test, that Ramon used to take in high school when he would make a 50 and teacher would let him remake and get a 90. It's not the same.
Also,
Did that happen?
No, only class I had to retake was geometry, Austin. I feel like you understand that one, right?
Maybe it was Ron then. Maybe Ron had to retake. Maybe Ron had to be the one that retook the cut.
Hey, quick story. I had to take summer school for geometry my 10th grade year. I tell you what, I had to get picked up because there was no school buses running. I know my mama left me there on purpose just because I was deficient in classrooms, man. That's how it goes.
We all were in some form or fashion along the way academically.
No doubt, man. And right now, Tennessee's facing Kentucky coming off of a bye week, and I'm sure this is a team that wants a little bit of get back. What is the biggest challenge that they have going into Lexington this weekend? And I know it's a night game, and last time Coach Stoops asked for his team to show up or his fans to show up and be, rambunctious, they were. Can Tennessee handle that going up there?
Yeah, they can. Again, Tennessee's had their way with Kentucky over the last 45 years. Handful of losses. It doesn't happen a whole lot. Tennessee's had their way with Mark Stoops in a lot of ways. But this is a Kentucky team that's capable of beating you if you don't bring a solid game to Lexington. Kentucky is coming off a bye, and Tennessee's coming off two extremely physical games against A&M and Alabama. I do think that this is a good setup for Tennessee, though. I'm not sure Tennessee's a great matchup for Kentucky. What Kentucky likes to do, they like to run the football. What's Tennessee do pretty well? They play really good defense on the defensive line. They stop the run. They get after the quarterback. But you have to take care of business. I think early. I think the start for Tennessee up there will be pivotal on both sides of the ball, because if you can get off to a quick start, and they've shown a propensity to do that, right? Florida, touchdown. Alabama, touchdown. You get off to that start at Kentucky, then the defense has got to back that up with a stop. 2 years ago, they couldn't. And Kentucky ball controlled it and had the ball for like 75% of the game, and yet Tennessee found a way to score basically every possession, and they won 45-42. Not sure this game plays out that way. I think this is much more of a ball control game on both sides. But Tennessee's going to have to hit a few big chunk plays. That's what they've done the last couple of years. In Lexington 2 years ago, last year in Knoxville, you hit Kentucky with big plays. Kentucky wants you to try to drive the ball on them. They don't want the big chunk plays against them. And so, we'll see if Tennessee's able to kind of do that just enough. I think Tennessee's got to run the football too. Jalen Wright.
Yeah, Austin, if you don't mind me blending a little bit, I'd like to for a second, man, because you spoke about Kentucky from last year, and they had a very, strong Heisman hopeful in Will Levis, and, Tennessee pretty much had their way with him at Neyland. Can I ask you what you saw and thought of Will Levis in his college career, man, as unbiased as you possibly can, because he may end up starting here for this franchise this weekend, and I'd just like to know your take on following him throughout college. What was he like, and what can you expect from him on a professional level?
Well, I thought Will Levis was someone who, I get why the scouts loved him, and from a projection standpoint, right? It's why, look at Dante Thornton. I think Dante Thornton's play is not matched up with how he appears, how he, practices and all that, right? Like Joey Halsey's calling him a freak and all this stuff. And, he, to this point, hasn't shown up in games, on a consistent basis to help Tennessee. I thought Will Levis was kind of the same way at Kentucky. He would show flashes, but then he would show flashes the other way. And so, again, I get that, he's a big kid. He moves well, throws a pretty ball, routes on air, but it's the decision-making that I think, held him back at Kentucky in a lot of ways. So, can he fix that? Can somebody fix that? Sometimes that's fixable. Not all the time, but sometimes. The right offense coordinator, the right, level of maturing from Will Levis, and you never know what happens. But, again, I think it more boils down to decision-making, because he has all the physical traits that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Austin Price joining us now at VolQuest.com. And Austin, I'm just curious also on your take on Mark Stoops. This guy has clearly done a great job building that program there. It looks like he's had other places that he could go, but he kind of just chooses to stay there and build this program. Is that surprising to you at all, knowing there's probably other places that are calling him?
Well, I think his desire has always kind of been to go back to his alma mater, which is Iowa. But
Yeah.
Kirk Ferentz has held on and held on. He still holds on. And so, like, that's not opened up. And then, Stoops is kind of getting a little older. And I'm not sure Stoops is a guy that, like I think he's very comfortable doing things away from football. So, in other words, I think when, he's not going to be one that holds on himself.
Mm-hmm.
He enjoys life a lot. And but he has done a phenomenal job there, based off of where Kentucky football has been and where he's had it. It's hard not to give the guy a lot of respect. He's made them a contender against teams in the East. They play a lot more competitively against Florida, who they beat earlier this year, and have beaten him and won that game a few times now. Have beaten Tennessee, but Tennessee still had a lot more success against Stoops than he has against them. But they've been competitive with Georgia. They've continued to grow. Now, we had him on the Nation a few years ago, and I basically said, hey man, you've built this thing. It's and he got mad about it. I think he gets offended because he gets offended by the notion that they've grown as a program. I guess he's tired of that narrative.
Okay.
He feels like they've arrived or something to that effect. I really didn't understand. I was complimenting him, and he got
Jeez.
He went back and told some of the Kentucky coaches about it. He said something to Chris Lowe about it. I don't really understand. He's done a really nice job there. And so we'll see, if he can, get a big win Saturday. But, they are kind of, who he wants them to be, which is, a defensive team who likes to run the football. And that's who they are this year. They hand it to Ray Davis a lot. Devin Leary, I thought would be, I think, a real shot in the arm for their passing game after Levis kind of had a down year last year. He's not been that. I think he's taken a step back from his time at NC State. And so, we'll see if out of the bye week they look any different or they're the same Kentucky team we've seen through the first half of the season.
Austin, Coach Stu thought you was blessing his heart, man.
Oh, bless your heart.
That's crazy.
I guess.
Either way, man, it seemed like in the Bama game we were all looking for somebody to take that next step, and it looked like Joe made that connection with Squirrel. Is that going to end up being his go-to guy as stuff start to break down? And I guess another question too that people ask: if it's not Squirrel, then what are the other options that that are available in this offense when they do decide to pass the ball? Because it's one option and go to that and nothing else, and it breaks down.
I do think Squirrel's transforming into that. Now, I would still tell you the connection with Ramel is probably greater just because those two have bonded the last few years. But Ramel, confidence-wise, just seems like he's a shell of where he was last year. Now, he did have a little bit better game against Alabama than the previous games. But, they've got to kind of get Ramel going, because if they can get Ramel going and Squirrel, then it's not there's just more options there, is the best way to put it. Right now, it kind of feels like Squirrel and Squirrel. So, I think they've got to kind of get some mojo going. I do like how they're using the tight ends. Tennessee's played 7 games. Tight ends have caught a touchdown in 5 of the 7. And obviously, they're a real option, for this offense.
Much of a status on Gerald Mincey as he left the game this past weekend, too?
I think Gerald Mincey will kind of be the same status from here to the house.
Wow.
I think he's going to try to suit it up every week. And when I say from here to the house, I mean from here to the end of the season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want anybody to mistake it, but point is, I think every week he's going to give it a go, and he'll go as long as he can. I think he's got he's got the knee, and he was walking around it okay at the end of the game, but clearly he was affected during the game. So again, I think he'll be available every week, in my opinion. The question is how far does he make it into the game?
Yeah. And I guess another one, too, going into it, because he had a good bit of praise in the offseason, man. But how's Mincey's play been as far as his, improving his draft status throughout this year, too? Because he's been a guy that had his name thrown around this offseason, being one of those guys going into the draft.
Yeah, we'll see, kind of where his draft grade comes back at. It took him a while to get going because I don't think he really wanted to play right tackle. He wanted to stay on the left side. But, when he's played, I think he's played solid football for Tennessee. So, again, I think that, Mincy's best decision, I think, would probably be to come back just because, he would be the guy next year. But, we'll see where he wants to go with things. I mean, every kid makes a decision that's best for them. And, right now I would tell you that, some of those defensive linemen that could come back, I think are probably trending towards coming back. And, we'll see about the O-line because, I mean, in theory, the only person you definitely lose is Ollie Lane. Spraggs could come back if he wanted to. He's got the COVID year. Cooper, same thing. Yeah. John Campbell, same thing. And same thing with Gerald Mincy. So, we'll see how many of those would like to go and how many of those would like to come back for another year.
No doubt.
He is Austin Price, VolQuest.com. You can follow him on X at Austin Priceless every Tuesday here on RKW. We always appreciate you, Austin. Thanks for your time.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Aus.
That is Austin Price, always bringing us good stuff. And four's up.
That's
right. Four's up. We have reached hour 4. Your last chance to get in phone calls. What do you feel about the Kevin Byard trade? Could somebody else be next? 615-737-1045. Plus, the show will lose its roof. Ron Slay coming up at 9:20. That's RK-Dub here on 1045 The Zone. You know what else is everywhere besides Taylor Swift? Joint pain. At least I'm feeling it. I know as we all get older, we're feeling that joint pain relief, though, is here. It's QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine, and it's amazing stuff, you guys. It is Kayla Anderson, and you might be hearing stories about steroids or surgery being your only options to get that pain relief, but do not be so fast. Get a second opinion and really learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem, literally using concentrated healing properties placed directly into your joint. And that will help restore and repair that damaged tissue. So maybe you have pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back. And this offers no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Life is about motion, no matter what the age is. And QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. So for more information, make sure to call QC Kinetics now, 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024. It's QC Kinetics.
9 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Monday Night Football last night, 49ers and the Vikings to close out Week 7, where the Vikings stunned San Francisco 22-17. Jordan Addison had his best game of the year with 7 catches, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Brock Purdy and the 49ers now with 2 losses in a row. San Fran still in first place in the division, but the Seahawks in striking distance at 4-2. The big news of the NFL yesterday, Titans trade safety Kevin Byard to the Philadelphia Eagles. Titans get a 2024 5th and 6th round pick in return, in addition to safety Terrell Edmunds. Edmunds is a former first-round pick with the Steelers and has started 77 games in his career. On the year, Edmunds has 28 combined tackles and a forced fumble. NFL hits from yesterday, Broncos safety Kareem Jackson suspended 4 games for illegal hits. Jackson's 4-game suspension is the longest for violating a player safety rule since Vontaze Burfict and Myles Garrett in 2019. Burfict was for targeting, and he was out 12 games. Myles Garrett was for unsportsmanlike conduct with a helmet. That was 6 games. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Put them fours up. It is hour 4 of RKW on 104.5 The Zone. It has been an emotional morning, a morning of realizing, maybe where things are going right now for the Titans. And we're going to get more into it. We've got Ron Slade joining the show here in 20 minutes. If you want to get your take in, this is your final hour to do it, 615-737-1045 The Zone. You can chat with us live on Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch.
Twitch, please.
And it has been popping the F&M Bank chat. You can also follow us on Twitter at Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We've got VFL, Ramon Foster.
Yeah.
We've got Robert Walsh answering phone calls all day long.
All day.
Bravo to you.
Yeah.
Juggling that back there.
Way to multitask.
Yeah.
I can do it, man.
Right? I'm Kayla Anderson, running the ship today. Will Bowling enjoying some time off. And speaking of people who are chiming in on Twitter and all those things, I thought this was crazy. James McNulty, who was on I-24, said he was driving by the stadium and they are taking down the Byard banner as we speak.
Are they really?
Yeah. That's how fast it happens, right? This
Kind
is
of expected.
the business. And if you're just new to the news, obviously yesterday, the Titans making it official last night. Kevin Byard, all-pro safety here, has been excellent for the Tennessee Titans. Traded to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 2024 6th and 5th round pick and shipping over Terrell Edmunds, safety here.
Also. Yep.
So a lot of things starting to kind of paint a picture here. And the question now, Ramon, is there another piece to fall?
That's gonna be the question for sure going into this weekend. And honestly, Sunday evening, Monday, and Tuesday before the deadline is going to be a whole lot of, questions about what's next. And of course, there's a lot of people, speculating that Derek could be up. Nico's name's been thrown around. Heck, even D-Hop's name has been thrown around. I saw somebody earlier making the statement. I think it was Cables in the F&M Bank chat. You can also join us there, comment, watch, review us, all those types of things that I wonder if D-Hop is wondering if it's still good here in Tennessee. Older player, yeah, he gets a bag, but he also wants to win too. And you see one of the main pieces of the team that you joined leave, raises a lot of questions. But here's something else, a movement that's been going on. Derek's on the poll that we asked, who's next? You know, who could be next?
At Ramon Kalen Will. Vote.
At Ramon Kalen Will. And you put Derek up there, D-Hop, Danico, and Christian Fulton.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we look at all things that are happening right now. Teams who are very competitive trying to position themselves. And Phil Yates tweeted out, I say Yated. Phil Yates tweeted out a little while ago, about an hour or so ago, the Bills recently restructured the contract of their left tackle, Deion Dawkins, converting base salary into a signing bonus and creating $3.9 million in 2023. That's fascinating because the Bills think of themselves as contenders, and they probably will be also. And then, of course, Spot Track put out the tweet yesterday. Derrick Henry's deadline salary, meaning what he's owed for the rest of the year, is 5.8. Currently, the Bills don't have enough, but there's a team that you've already played that are having some offensive struggles themselves in the Cleveland Browns.
Sure.
They have plenty of cap space. You've already played them. There's no bearing on you having to face Derrick Henry moving forward, and they got plenty of cap space too. Derrick Henry's owed 5.8. So the two teams we've all kind of spoken of, let me say, what are destinations if they do decide to get more draft capital for Derrick Henry, if that's the case, whether that be by the end of this weekend or going into the trade deadline is this. You can probably find yourself in a similar situation where if Derrick is owed 5.8 and the Bills only have about $3 million freed up, 3.9 freed up, do the Titans continue to eat that 1 point whatever he's owed to get him off their books and into get more draft capital?
Right.
A lot of different scenarios out here, or you don't move Derrick at all.
Sure.
A lot of the fan base has said, why move Derrick? Why move Derrick? You don't have to. Well, Derrick doesn't have a contract after this year.
Yeah, and if you can get something for him now, you might as well try. Now, the big question is, Ramon, you're right, and you listed two teams that I honestly think would fit for him if they needed him. And that's the thing. You've got to have teams that are willing to bite. And right now, this was the latest, and we could get more updates today. But NFL National Insider for The Athletic says he expects teams to have interest in Derrick Henry. Meanwhile, his coworker Diana Rossini said a couple days ago that they haven't really received significant interest in Henry in terms of their reports. They have not received a lot in terms of teams needing a running back right now, specifically Derrick Henry, who we're talking about. That could change, though, in the next few hours. This is how the business works. And there's teams that could be working on freeing up space, like you were saying, like the Buffalo Bills.
And nobody shows their hand
Right.
because they know you want something and they'll lowball the heck out of you. You're right, Kayla. There can still be a strong weapon for a lot of teams. And heck, for this team here. This is all speculation on our end. Nobody knows it. No, Rand hadn't called me, you, Kayla, or Bert at all, right?
Right.
And these are all speculations. Now, of course, Diana Rossini has been one of the main reporters when it comes to breaking news out of the camp here in Nashville.
Yep.
That's just what it is. And she's saying no, but one of her coworkers, so you said, Kayla, one of her teammates is saying, yes, there is interest in Derrick Henry. It always sucks talking about this type of stuff because the players are just pawns in this. They move and go as you need them to. Of course, Byard being in Philly right now stings a little bit more. And it kind of makes you look at the entire outlook of the season. One piece being removed, and hopefully Elijah Molden being able to step in, or Terrell Edmonds being the replacement piece for Kevin Byard is what you're looking for. I think this team still has the mindset to go out and compete, although a bunch of this fan base don't think that's the case. Again, I always speak on the player side of things when it comes to these type of situations where you're trading assets away. The guys who are still in that locker room aren't in the position to say, hey, yeah, we're out too, because their jobs are dependent on wins and losses. If you lose a lot, the optimistic side of it is, oh, hey, yeah, we get a high draft pick. The bad side of this is players get fired. If you're part of a losing team, there's so much turnover. There's so much replacing. There's so much that you have to climb. So far you got to climb out of getting out of this point of being a bad team. Coaches get fired. There's a lot of movement. Look at the teams that have been bad. How many coaches does Cleveland have? You know,
and quarterbacks,
think about
right?
that. The Saints as of late, Houston as of late, Jaguars historically. There's so much turnover, and I think what's happening is you're hopefully finding yourself in a position of finding some stability.
Right.
But you got to kind of move some stuff around, get some more draft capital, and hopefully build from there. What you don't want to be is a team that's sputtering even after all these moves has been made. And new regime, Rand Carthon's your GM, and the way they're going to do business moving forward is to get as much as you possibly can out of guys and not potentially laying into. And Bert, we talked about this a second ago. If you're not answering calls right now, Kayla, we added, like, what's the value? Which teams, Kayla, are actually dependent upon one running back?
There's not a lot right now. That's the thing, right?
San Fran?
Yeah,
that's the only team.
Yeah, and they still have so many gadget
So when
guys,
it
you know?
it is. And so when it comes to us having that hard conversation of what do you do with Derek? Do you try to get trade value now? Is he still, 22? Is he still King Henry?
Right.
All those questions that come out, you look around the league, you say New York and probably San Fran.
Yeah.
Only two teams that got premier runners. Heck, even New Orleans. Look at Dallas with Pollard. Look at Kansas City with Pacheco and crew. Every team has running back by committee. A historically run-first team in Baltimore, how many running backs do you have capable of toting the ball right now, Bert?
Yeah, they're splitting between Gus and Justice Hill and even working in Keaton Mitchell. But in the top 5 rushers of stats this year, you talked about San Fran. Christian McCaffrey's number 1. The second leading rusher is Zach Moss, who is splitting a backfield right now. DeAndre Swift, who it's kind of a three-headed monster there, where they use Kenneth Gainwell a lot. They hadn't used Rashad Penny as much, but they have him. They can use him too. Travis Etienne in Jacksonville is probably a good example where Tank Bigsby isn't doing as much for them. And Raheem Mostert, who has had to be the only dog because everyone else, aside from Salvin Ahmed, who is kind of their third down back, like everybody else is mixing in multiple backs. No one is going with the bell cow approach where they have a guy who's definitely getting 20 carries every single game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's the reality of the situation. Now, if a team wants him bad enough, they're going to make an offer, right? And
What is a sufficient offer, you think?
I mean, I don't think you're going to get more than at the rate that things are going right now, a 5th-round pick looks to be what they could get, and I don't even know if they get that. I mean, that's because the Philadelphia needed a safety. Kevin Byard was clearly, I mean, he's an all-pro guy. He's still, I know he hasn't had the best season yet, but there's reasons why, too, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to make excuses for him, but I think he'll go there and you'll see he's still Kevin Byard.
Right.
They needed him, though, Ramon, right? I don't know if a team really needs a running back like Derek right now because there's so many other guys that are fulfilling those roles.
And that's why we've had that conversation time and time again. How much do you pour into, the salary of a running back these days?
Right.
Will that change here? Will this be a past happier offense moving forward if you do incorporate a guy like Will Levis and asking Austin Price what he saw from him because he covered him for the most part on the college level. And that's truthfully all we have because he didn't play much in the preseason, has all the intangibles, but it does come down to the decision-making when you look at what Will Levis is capable of if you're not going to go with Malik and if Tannehill's on the outside looking in. There's so many moving parts to this, and it's going to be fascinating to see how all this shakes up in the end.
Yeah, there's still plenty more to be, I guess, unfolded in terms of everything. We're going to hear more from Mike Vrabel today at 11 a.m. He has his press conference. Maybe we'll find some details on who could be the starter this weekend at quarterback. Jeff Howe and Diana Rossini, they are the two athletic reporters who have done an excellent job, continue to do an excellent job. They've been keeping us to date on all of the kind of moves that could be made. So definitely go give them a follow. We'll keep you updated. But when the show returns, we've got Ron Slay entering the building. The roof's going to come off. We'll get his thoughts on the Kevin Byard trade. Plus, we'll get to the rest of our phone calls. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will on this very busy morning. 104.5, The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. And yes, I use the entire name because that's what they do. They service each one of those components right there, from the plumbing, heating, and cooling to electrical. It's 100% satisfaction guarantee because they live by the happy you'll be or the service is free motto, okay? And they stick by it. As a matter of fact, I used one of those factions of their company yesterday, the electrical. I had the crew come through yesterday, very professional, very good. They come into the house, they put those shoe covers on their their shoes so that they don't mess up your house. They leave it better than what it was. They installed some things around my house, and they will be coming back to install a few more just because they do good quality work, and it's easy to call a company like Hiller just because of their guarantee. 100% satisfaction every single time. That happy you'll be able to service is free is what they live by. And that's because Hiller cares about the homeowner, their communities, their partners, vendors, employees, etc. Caring is a major theme for their business, and they make sure they never leave someone stranded or in need. As soon as my cameras got up, they waited to make sure that it was the angle that I needed, and it was exactly where I wanted it to point. And I promise you this, too. They had to clean up a couple things that somebody else did, and they were great and awesome. Didn't bash them, just did good work, okay? They're family-owned and operating, have been in business since 1990. If you need anything done around your house, like myself yesterday, whether that be plumbing, heating, cooling, or electrical, visit happyhiller.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Tennessee Titans letting Kevin Byard go yesterday, making it official, headed to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's been a day of sharing your emotions, and we get it. Definitely a solid player here. Drafted, obviously, by the Tennessee Titans out of MTSU, has been solid, reliable, and now you move on, right? It's part of the business. We'll have Ron Slay in here in just a minute, but let's go out to cousin Danny in the borough. What's up, cuz?
Appreciate you making some time for me. I don't want to take up too much of everybody's Ron Slay time, but I'll make this brief. Everyone just chill and keep your powders dry. I'm going to give you a non-emotional, non-Titan fan perception of what just happened with this organization. Kevin Byard is a great player, and it hurts to see him go, and it sucks. And I get it. I've seen it happen with my own team, and I feel for you, and my heart breaks for you. That being said, everyone out there talking about, it's a fire sale, it's a barn burn, let's get out, season, we're tanking for Caleb Williams and all this. First of all, the Tennessee Titans have spent second and a third round draft pick on quarterbacks in the last 2 drafts. You're not wasting a premium draft pick on another quarterback. It's just not going to happen. Second, Kevin Byard, as good as he is not the reason that the Titans have won the few games that they have won this year. Losing a safety and replacing him with another fully and well-capable player like Edmonds is not the end of the world. And I think it also goes to show that this team is looking forward from an organizational standpoint because Kevin Byard's being paid as one of the highest safeties in the league. Maybe it's just a situation where Rand and Miss Amy don't want to spend premium dollars at that position because moving forward scheme-wise, the safety position is not going to be as valuable as someone like a cornerback or another wide receiver that's going to come in. With guys like Sean Murphy-Bunting and Roger McCreary really stepping up in pass protection, it's probably good to have a guy like Edmonds to come in from the safety position and help with run coverage and run stopping. This is not the Titans throwing in the towel on the 2023 NFL season. This is Rand Carthon making a wise business decision, getting the most value he possibly could from a asset that can be lost without the team losing its complete and total identity. Keep your powder dry. Know your cousin Danny loves y'all, and be good, okay?
Thanks, cousin Danny.
The fan base is calling to let them know this is the way.
Is this the way?
This is the way in the future right here, man. It's frustrating, I know. Of course, everybody that have loved what Byard has done here in this city is what what this is all about. It's emotional. That's what today is, man. And I didn't expect him. We had this conversation before about who we thought could be traded and why and all those types of things. It never dawned on me that Byard was that close. But when you look at, 7 years for him?
Yeah, 7 seasons.
You're still coming into your prime still. I know the position has been devalued at safety, but guys hit their prime from years like 5 to 8. And depending on how savvy you are, you get years, 9 and
Sure.
10 is when you start to see a little bit, a little bit of that drop off. That's just what that was more than anything, man. I don't think Byard's on the back end of it. The price might not match the production or what you think a guy should be paid at that point. But I make the stands earlier when Kansas City went after the Honey Badger. He was up there in age too, if I'm not mistaken, years 6 or 7 himself, and they end up winning because they had a player like him. Philly's windows wide the heck open.
Yeah.
Why would you not try to get a guy like Byard? And it just so happens that the team that you traded with is who you sent AJ to. So It is what it is, but business is how you got to look at this.
It is. Let's go out to the phone lines. AG in Nashville on Byard. What's up, AG?
Yeah, I used to love Byard, but lately I haven't just, been just be like, oh, Kevin Byard, in the position is too dependent on other factors like the defensive line and stuff. And I'm just agreeing. And I love the cousin Danny segment. I wish y'all put him on more. That's all I got.
He actually, thanks, AJ. Danny actually calls in quite a bit, bringing us his outsider perspective, obviously. He's a Bengals fan, right?
Yeah, he is a
Bengals
fan. Yeah, definitely a Bengals fan.
Entering the building. Entering the building at 6'8". 6'8". It's Ron Slay, and I can't miss him today because he's got that neon Oregon Yellow.
My boy was working.
Look at you,
When you
Ron
say you
Slay.
ran into traffic, I didn't know you was working traffic
Neon out
today.
that
He's
thing,
working
man.
traffic.
You
I
feel
love
me?
it.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do
love
out here to
that
help
neon,
the people, man. When
right?
you're a man of the people, you got to help the people.
Yeah, you do.
Hey,
You feel me?
Talk about you guys were busy yesterday, Ron, because the news
Man.
dropped in the end of Blaine and Mickey, and then you guys were just like fielding calls all day long, and it's not stopped here this morning, Ron.
We strolled right into that thing.
Right?
Man. Yeah, it was crazy. But, I mean, this is the time. We said coming off that bye week, like, expect some changes at some point, especially if you walked into it at 2-4, 1-5. If you were at 3-3, felt like you had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? To keep the train on the track. But, I mean, changes being made, man. Like, people doing their job. It's almost as simple as that. You brought people in to do their job. They're doing their job. You need to change. It is what it is. And for all the people that are saying, man, the Titans don't pay players and this, that, and the other, that's cool too, man. But this is a different regime.
Yeah.
Like the carryover from J-Rob, from Bud Adams, like so forth and so on. Like you got Miss Amy in right now, man. You got Rand Carthon. Regardless of what happens in the first year, like that's not a reflection of who they are or whatever it may be. Like you got to give it an opportunity. Like people, I think Madden and fantasy football has messed up everybody mentally.
Sure.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
everybody like, man, you need to drop such and such right now, man, and so you can cut the salary cap. Man, this ain't you can't tweak the salary cap.
No, you can't.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's set. You got a minimum and a max. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? You got to work within those borders, and whatever you walk into, the other man's trash or whatever it may be, the other man's steak, that's your food on your plate. You know what I mean? You don't get to send it back. You know what I mean? You got to wait till that's gone, and then it's time to order again. Then you get to do something. You can't just people with the snap of the finger thinking that you can just create something. Man, when are we gonna get a franchise? Dude, just relax.
Yep.
Go support your team and be cool. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be upset and a little emotional about it, but
Sure.
man, settle down.
Yeah.
Settle down,
And that's
dude.
that's the kind of calls we've got all day.
Yeah.
Just a mix of them, right?
Yeah.
We've got a mix of people being like, okay, we're realistic about the situation, and then you've got the emotional fans, which I get that too. But
Right.
this is just a new GM that's coming in who's doing business.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
And we'll see what happens. Do you believe, Slay, there's another domino to fall in the next week to come?
I definitely wouldn't be surprised. If I had to put money on it, I would say yes. And what is the deadline? The 31st?
31st.
I think you would. Me personally, I would try to wait until after the Love You Blue for another major
Sure.
foundational piece or whatever it may be to fall, because I do want to pack the stands, and then for the Oilers homecoming and the reuniting with the Titans and all of that, I need all of that to kind of be in place. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, hopefully it would, that would play a part in it. But if it's something on the table that you can't, bat an eye at, you got to go with it. That's what it's about. It's about moving forward and evolving, regardless if you like it, hate it, love it, whatever it is. That is the name of the game, especially when you're trying to grow and get better. Regardless, it's going to hurt. You know what I'm saying? People go to funerals, cry, and everything's going to be all right the next day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. You get cut, the scab grows, and then sooner or later, that new skin comes back. But it don't happen unless you get that scab up off of it, and it hurts.
It does.
You know what I mean? But you got to move forward with it. That's a part of it, man. And yes, I was the same way. Like, I don't want to see Byard go nowhere. I would love to see him.
You got a jersey, right?
Yeah, I just bought the jersey.
Show.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I got a throwback now, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
But you look at it and it's like, man, that's part of the game, man. You want to move forward. You want to grow. You want to see a person retire here. But honestly, when you're dealing with a franchise that doesn't have the tradition of winning yet, then there's not going to be an opportunity for people to re-sign, retire as, put them in the ring of without going to other places to finish up their career. It's just not. You're not going to get 10-year, 11-year, 12-year guys. You're not going to get it in this franchise. You know what I'm saying? I was in Savage about that yesterday and asking him, and while I was asking him, I was answering the question myself. Like, dang, dude, why was Pittsburgh like that, dog? And, they got a tradition of winning.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be with a winner? You take less sometimes to be with a winner to be able to go chase Super Bowls. You're not necessarily chasing a Super Bowl here yet. You know what I'm saying? You hoping to put the pieces in place and to do it consecutive years, but not for we're talking about 1-year windows that are open.
Right.
You know what I mean? You look at the other franchises, you talking about, even with as garbage as the Cowboys are, you still think about they still in a window where, okay, man, we got pieces in place. We add one, we can go get a Super Bowl.
Right.
You know, this is not an add one, go get a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is not even that franchise yet. You know what I mean? Coming out of the 90s, early 2000s, yeah. But then you had to blow that up because of also the market.
Sure.
It's just part of it, man.
It's the same way you have Buffalo go get Vaughn.
Yeah.
Or whenever Tampa signing Dominican Sue.
Right.
Like those are real windows right there.
Right.
When you're talking about. So let's go back real quick because I saw a Titan alum yesterday and we had the conversation about Titan guys being Titans guys.
Yeah.
Where are you at on that? Do you get where the fans are coming from to where you just bought a jersey?
Yeah.
Or this fan base bought all this Love You Blue?
Yeah.
And you'll get an opportunity to see a guy wear that on Sunday.
Right.
Where are you at on that side of watching this franchise stick by their guys more?
Man, you excuse me, you're all for it. You hope to start a precedent where that can happen, but to get guys that are drafted by the Titans to end up retiring as Titans, I think they remain Titans regardless if they go somewhere and play 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? If you look at a franchise like the Jacksonville Jaguars, I still look at John Henderson as a Jaguar.
That's
even though he
facts.
went to go play for the Raiders, finished up his career there, it's still understood that, man, that man's a Jaguar.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So when you look at Titans in a similar fashion, when you get to year 7, year 8, like you're looking for one more bag.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if your window of winning a championship is not there, it's totally different. Okay, so the people that have left, what did they leave for? They left because, okay, my wager is, my part that I got for the team is, okay, I got a bag. Can you pay me? We don't have a championship window. If I leave, then what am I leaving for? I'm leaving to go chase a championship. McNair, when he was left, or let go, however you want to play it, he went to go get a championship.
Right.
Eddie George left to go get a championship. Like, it's blame. We go to blame. Like, why'd you leave? I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I'll ask him, like, why'd you leave? To me, from the outside looking in, I'm talking about from the fan approach because that's what he asked.
Yeah.
I would think you went to go chase a championship. The Eagles had that pedigree. They were always in the NFC Championship with McNabb and all them guys. Like, it was there. So that's my thing. When you start to put pieces in place to get that point, then it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Until then, you have a mainstay in Jeff. You know what I mean? Hopefully, he can play his way out. You know what I mean? And then get another contract. But while he's trying to go get that another contract, you got to fast-pace things as well.
Sure.
And put pieces around him to make him be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna stick this one out, man. I ain't gonna go chase that bag because chasing that bag and chasing that ring, then you start talking about Hall of Fame. It's a little bit different.
I know they went about it the different way, but it's almost the way you got to look at Aaron Donald and the Rams.
Yeah.
Eventually, they got to a point as a team.
Yep.
To say, all right, we can surround you to go win this ship.
Yep.
That's what you're looking for.
Yep.
Or
That's it.
Trent Williams, or the way the 49ers did. They did it there as a little bit of homegrown. They did a little bit of free agency.
Yep.
And right now the Bills hadn't come due. They've been in the NFC Championship. They're looking to do it again almost at this point.
Right.
So you're right. You got to be close enough.
Yes.
To make these types of moves.
Aaron Donald talked about it on the podcast. I forgot who he did it with.
Was it with Pivot?
It was with the Pivot. That's
Yep.
right.
Ron
So
Clark,
they did it at his house. He was talking about after winning that ring, what was the reason for you to come back and stay? Man, they offered me a bag.
Absolutely.
Like
right?
they knew, they letting me know. Hey man, we're gonna be sorry though. You know what I mean? Because we just went all in to get you the ring, but we're gonna be sorry. But would you come back? You throw something on the table, I ain't got no choice to. I'm on the way.
31 and a half
Here
million.
I come.
Yeah.
Like I can't leave that on the table at the end of my playing career. So if he didn't have the ring, imagine him going to either a Super Bowl contender or let me go get this big old bag.
Yep.
He was able to do both. It doesn't happen like that a lot. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So we've got some people asking Slay and Moan about Traylon Burks in the chat.
Yeah.
Right? And he's been a little quiet because he's been
Injured.
trying to
Been
get
injured.
healthy, right?
Yeah, yep.
It's crazy, though, because he didn't go on IR.
Right.
And so I think it's been weird because it's been silent kind of behind the scenes of what's going on with the knee.
Yeah.
And for all intents and purposes, what I had been updated with after the bye week was that he was probably going to be back in the flow this week.
Good.
It looks like he could be possibly ready for Sunday. I'm not saying that's 100%.
Right.
We'll get more
gonna be
updates
needed.
from Vrabel, but really quickly, I mean, this guy's got to step up at some point, but more so than anything, he's got to stay healthy. You're never going to get better if you can't build off of anything.
Yeah, you go ahead, Savage. I think you got to be available.
Health is a part of it. He's had football injuries. You know,
That's
it
the
seems to
thing.
me like that's the issue. Last year coming into camp out of shape, if he was out of shape and didn't know how to be, all right, that's on him.
Right.
Figure that out this offseason. Did he answer that bell and improving from last year to this year? Yes, he did. You can't help the fact that he fell down on his knee in Minnesota. That's a football injury. I'll never bench a guy because of that. I'll never say, hey, you're not the starter no more because of that. Injuries I can't supplement you in, okay? And this seemed to be another football injury. So it's not like he ain't got the will. We've seen the spurts of what it is. Yes, staying on the field is one thing.
Yeah.
It's not like we're watching him fumble the ball on punt returns or have some stupid plays happen.
Yeah.
Football injuries is a part of it. And a big receiver, AJ, you dealt with that with AJ.
You did.
The knees, right?
Yep.
You find a way to help them figure out how to stay on the field.
Yeah.
And that's essentially Traylon's biggest issue. He ain't no bust to me. He's a, hey, stay healthy.
You can't call him a bust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't call him a bust and try to trade him away right now.
Yeah, I agree. We haven't seen enough from him. You know, you want to be able to start, accumulating that body of work if you're Traylon Burks to be able to talk about what you want a year or two down the line, but you got to show it. You know what I mean? And ability is availability. That's your best ability.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you got to be able to push forward with that. I just think it's going to come, man. And if it don't come here, it's going to come somewhere else because the man has he got the tools. You know what I'm saying? He got the tools and he can get it done. It's just got to be out there and be available. Hopefully he can stay healthy and do that, and we'll see. I mean, it's all a wait and see.
It is. It's this week, wait and see
Yeah.
for a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Wait and see if Kyle Phillips is back there at punt return. That's a
Yeah.
wait and see situation. I don't know what the heck's going on
Absolutely.
with that. We'll get more into it in this final block. Are you going to stick with us?
Yeah, I ain't got nothing else to do.
All right. Construction man Ron Slay here.
Go sit back out there in that traffic and try to figure out why people switch from the right lane to get to the
Right.
left lane, zoom up, and then think they can get back over. Nah, man, you got to have patience. I'll leave earlier.
You could direct traffic
Yeah,
today.
I'm out there. I'm out
Right?
there. I don't know why this ain't green.
Exactly. Get that switched up. We'll wrap up the show when RKW returns here on 104.5 The Zone.
When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of time we homeowners pretend we don't see the warning signs. We're afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It could be something big that needs to be fixed right away, or maybe a small problem now that'll become big later. You just don't know. Bottom line is, we don't know. We certainly don't want to be sold something we don't need. What we need is a peace of mind. And United Structural Systems is the company to give you that. They have over 25,100% satisfied residential customers. So here's the thing. If you do have to have some foundation repair, waterproofing done, you always have a peace of mind knowing that USS provides an honest diagnosis and stand by their work and warranties. This is huge, okay? USS is based right here in Middle Tennessee. They are members of this community, and USS has been in business for 25 plus years, and they aren't going anywhere. This is who you want to be doing repair work, and this is who you want to call if you ever do need to use that warranty, okay? This is a company who cares and a company you can trust. USS, homeowners trust them, okay? Keeping homes dry and stable for over 25 years. Serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. You can find them online at USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855.
And as Whitney Houston, the late, great Whitney Houston, said it best, we will always love you, Kevin Byard. Sincerely, Titans fans. Wow. What a day of emotion here on RK Dub.
I cannot anymore.
Robert Walsh has been really proudly puffing out his chest back there as he's spinning the sad hits this morning.
Job well done.
Sometimes you got to lean into it. You know what I mean? You got to just let yourself have one good cry and then say, I'm over it.
There you go.
I ain't going to cry no more.
You've done a good job. Did you hear all the callers calling in trying to do karaoke sessions of End of the Road?
No. See,
we had like 3.
So I got caught up in a rabbit hole, man. You know how people be going on Facebook and doing posts and talking about the old school and the old times. They were talking about the 90s through 99 era of high school sports.
Oh, amen to that.
And they were on it for 5 hours, and I got caught in that rabbit hole. And I couldn't get out of it. I was like, dude, turn this off, Slade. What are you doing? Like,
You get stuck in a rabbit hole.
Oh, I hate the rabbit hole.
I do too.
Are the Titans in a rabbit hole?
Man, it seems to. That's a good segue right there. Good question, KK. Man, if they are, I hope that they can get out of it. I told Babs it might have been Thursday, like, can we get out of this pit of misery, man? And I hope we're taking steps. You know what? I ain't gonna hope. I believe we are.
I was gonna say you are a believer over there.
Yeah, I believe we're taking steps. Because I mean, if you run around with the slogan of "In J-Rob we trust," then you have no reason not to believe you're heading in the right direction, regardless if it got to go down and then up or 2 steps back and then forward. Whatever it is, like, you got to get it done.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I do believe in Rand. You know, I believe in Vrabe as well. And I believe as far as the managing part of it, that it'll be taken care of. So I think at some point, now, that don't mean it's going to get better on Sunday or.
I wish we could all make things get better in one day. That would make life a lot easier.
It would be beautiful, but no, man, I think it's gonna be difficult. You don't know what your quarterback situation is.
That's a biggie.
You know what I'm saying?
Left
you don't know what your line.
tackle
Yeah, like it's still a lot of things. Just because we had a week of not dealing with it, don't mean it ain't there no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we'll see it on Sunday. So.
You had a hell of a point. This microwave society of Madden and fantasy.
Yeah. I did it, man.
Right?
That hit me a little hard right there. Just like, you're right.
Yeah.
You can't fix this overnight. This isn't something that has to be corrected right now.
You didn't get in this hole overnight.
You did not.
That's truth, too.
You did not, man.
So how you going to get out overnight?
And that's what's most frustrating about it is we saw a lot of this stuff happen. It's like, oh, Lord. And AJ was the start of it. And a lot of people blaming Vrabel for it, and he probably has to hold some of it, too, because you got to evolve as a coach, and we'll probably see that moving forward. Not saying that he's not evolving as a coach, but on the surface level, people want to see that evolution of Coach Vrabel. But here's something that I'll bring up, and this is me saying this, too. I think when you compare one era that Vrabel was in to this new era that Vrabel was in, you look at that night of the draft and the trade.
Yeah.
That stand up. If me and you having a moment, Kayla, and you see me get up, button my stuff up and walk off and hit that deep breath.
Yeah, you ain't feeling good about something.
That was a telltale sign of where, and this is me projecting it, where Vrabel and J-Rob's relationship may have been in that moment.
Yeah.
It was.
It seemed like one was forward and was thinking business. The other was thinking, what the hell are you doing?
Absolutely.
And we can be honest about that. They probably never admit it. Maybe we get a book, and he go.
I know,
maybe we get a tell-all somewhere later. But I think when you look at one era versus this era, you got to kind of almost want to lean into this one a little bit more because it looked like Braves was out on that last one.
Yeah, that was the straw. That was the straw that did it. And I think culmination of all the things that happened, whether it been picks or whatever. And I'm guilty of it. Like, I remember when the Caleb Farley pick took place, I was all on board. Like, yeah, that's it. Give him a chance. You know what I'm saying? But injuries, man, when you get a track record like that, sometimes that follow you and sometimes it's right. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean he don't have the talent or the potential, but he don't have the health. You know what I'm saying, to get on the field to be able to help. So that's one of them. Then you started looking at draft picks and you start scratching your head. You're like, golly, that didn't pan out, but you're still able to soothe it over by going out there and winning and playing Titans
football,
football. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't come to a head, but when it does come to a head like now, it's an ugly 6-car pileup. And
It
you're
is.
looking at trying to cipher your way through it and see who done survive. So we'll see at the end.
You guys being former athletes, let me ask you this because, I have not really covered losing seasons since being here for 7 seasons. That's crazy to think. I'm blessed to be a reporter and being in those locker rooms.
Yeah.
But this is a different time. And as a player that's still on this team, guys, how do you handle something like this in season? I know it's business as usual, but it's hard to say that when you lose a guy like Kevin Byard, who is the leader in the locker room with Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah, I talked about it yesterday. I think going into it, when you're in that locker room, you hate to see your brother leave, but at the same whatever I'm saying. Anyway,
same time, yeah.
Same time.
Yeah.
Doggone.
I got you.
Don't complicate it.
Yeah, at the same time, I'm looking at it as, man, this is an opportunity for me. You know what I mean? I play behind people, whether it be college, whether it be pros, and I've always been like, man, I love my brother that's in front of me, love the opportunity he's getting, but at some point, man, I want that shine.
Absolutely.
I want that opportunity to get that big bag. I want to make that big play. I want them to scream my name. I want to run out the starting lineup. You know what I'm saying? I want that too. I'm cool with playing my role too, though. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But same time, just give me one chance. Wherever it is, here's your chance. You know what I mean? This is a professional ranks, and it's going to trickle down to college now too with the transfer portal and NIL and all that. But talking to pros, this is your opportunity. You looking to step up.
Facts.
Those are pros behind you. We always talk about you one play away, you one injury away from letting somebody else come up, take your spot, and never being able to get it back. Now they just moved and created a spot for you. Go get that spot if you want it.
Absolutely.
You're a pro.
And
Yeah.
here's the other thing is
You're
we
right.
in this thing out too. The guys that surround Jeff going to have a way bigger role now.
Yes.
They're going to have the leadership aspect of it. Can't fall on one person. If you all in, and Big Jeff said that last week, he need to see it, and this team does. Not even just him.
Yeah.
You got a lot going.
Don't do it to me, Bert. Don't do it to me, Bert. Don't do it to me, Bert.
There's a lot of going on right now,
Get on out of
and that support is going to have to be huge for Jeff moving forward.
Absolutely. It has been a roller coaster ride this morning on RKW. Thank you to
Joe Hunt
Austin
made me hate
Price,
this song.
to Ron Slay, who is taking off his headphones because he is
I'm outta
not
here.
wanting to hear this Boys to Men. It is not the end of the road for the Tennessee Titans, y'all.
Right,
You got to move forward. We'll miss you, Kevin Byard, but days go on, the work goes on. Before we go on, we leave it with Ramon Foster and words of advice.
Hey, y'all leave Tannehill's Twitter alone or X alone. Y'all stop replying that man embarrassing. He's doing the best he can, all right? But remember, as I talk about your X tweets, okay? Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.